Hello, hello. I am not Nick Staroff Trial Watch, and I am not covering the Jody stream. We need to take that down. But welcome everybody. Welcome. I am. There we go. I like the Swedish banner. That looks the prettiest. But I am just killing some time and waiting for Nick to get over here from the Jody area stream, so we can finish with Dykes on the stand. And Dykes is not a derogatory term. That is her name. This is Texas v. Dykes. And if you guys are not familiar with this case, it is Mrs. Dykes is lesbian, apparently, although she was married to 3 men prior. She is currently married, I believe it's still current, married to her wife, and they live together with another man. I only know him as Chucky, Charles something. I can't remember his last name, but apparently it's the last name that everybody shares anyways, at least on some documents. But live with this guy, Chucky, who is a failed rapper and a bouncer at a bar. So he decides to, apparently he's a playboy, and I don't get it. He has a way with women, and he's able to get women that are not like she's a paralegal. She's a professional. Her wife is an attorney. These are professional women, yet Mr. Chucky is able to get these women to do his bidding. And he also can get women to go home with him at the end of the night from the bar. And it sounds like that might have happened to, what's the victim's name?
Marisela Botello.
Yes. And because she was found unalived, they believe something happened to her at the home. And then Chucky basically snitches on Miss Dykes and says that she did all the unaliving.
Yeah.
I don't think that's very realistic.
No,
given the
in
facts
the interview, he started in the interview with the police officer. He started off by, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Then the next version was, "Yeah, I met her, and she left. And then we met, we had sex, I fell asleep, and then she was gone in the morning," was the next version. The next version after that was, "We met, we had sex, we woke up, I drove her off, she took an Uber or something like that." Not until they actually showed, "We kind of have your," which was a lie at the moment. "We have her blood, DNA, on the scene of the crime."
Yeah.
And then he said, "Well, okay, I'm going to tell you the truth. We had sex, I fell asleep, when I woke up, Lisa Dykes was assaulting Marisela, and then Nina Morales came in, and I left." That was the story until the trial. In the trial, the story went to, "We met, she asked me for weed, we went home to me, we had drinks, we had weed, we had sex, I fell asleep, I woke up with her on top of me, Lisa Dykes attacked her." Nothing about Nina. Nothing. "I pushed them off the bed, and then I pushed Lisa against the wall. I saw blood on Marisela and on Nina. Their entire chest area was covered with blood. I pushed her against the wall, and then I left." Here's the thing. The actual physical evidence. The blood smear on the floor beside the bed where he claimed Marisela Botello, after being attacked by Lisa Dykes, she was covered in blood. He claims, and logically, she bled out. The blood stain on the carpet, floor carpet, was a foot by half a foot. That's it. From a person who bled out. I will say to you, from now to kingdom come, that's not even physically possible.
But why the blood in the first place? Why even a little bit of blood from this woman? If she
Yeah.
wasn't unalived in the house, why even a little bit of blood? That's my
Mm.
question. So I feel like
Well,
something happened there.
yeah. The defense brought up one interesting thing. When they found her remains, and they did all the things, the bone-looking guy, the forensic anthropologist, said found no trauma on either of the bones. So the same said the coroner. But her front teeth was missing. Now, if you get punched in the face, so your front teeth fall out, you bleed. You bleed a lot, but you don't bleed enough to die. You
Yeah,
just
that's very
bleed.
possible. But who punched her? And why is Miss Dykes' phone pinging consistently with
Yeah, here's the thing.
what's his name? Chucky's.
Yeah, Chucky's phone pinged on different areas. Then it went silent. Lisa Dykes' phone pinged. So did Nina Morales. They searched at the wherever it pinged in that direction, but the remains wasn't found. The remains wasn't found until a few months later, about a mile away. So who put her there? We don't know. And every we don't know is a reasonable doubt, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
I think at the end of the day, though, the jury's got to convict this woman. I think there's enough to convict this woman because although Chucky's testimony, Chucky himself is sketchy.
yeah,
His testimony itself wasn't the worst that I've heard. It wasn't like I said, it wasn't Mr. Washington and Zachariah Anderson's case or
yeah,
any of these other prison snitches. Yes, he got a deal, but his testimony wasn't terrible. And the cell phones line up, and there's some reason her blood is in the house, right? And I think that's going to be enough for the jury to convict. Not that it's enough for me to convict, but I think it's enough for the jury to convict.
mm. But I won't go there yet because I skipped ahead a bit. So I know a bit about what's going on ahead. But here's the thing. One other very, very interesting thing that went on in the defense case in chief when they talked to the lead investigator, who, by the way, was demoted after this investigation because she did such a piss poor job doing it. She withheld evidence from the defense until the judge ordered her to hand it over. It was video and a box of bones and underwear that the lead investigator kept hidden in a file cabinet in her office that she did not want to hand over to the defense. Now, eventually, the bones was not from Marisela, but
Yeah,
they were
there's some
found
random
at
bones.
they were found. Human remains was found at the exact same spot that Marisela was found.
Which leads to me, I would argue, although maybe I can't argue it because it would assume facts, not evidence, that maybe Chucky has unalived a few other women, and that's his dumping ground.
Yeah.
Brandon, let's go. I agree. The jury is going to lock her up because someone has to go to jail, and this is what is offered up on a platter. Yes, and that's a very realistic concern. I do like what the defense is doing with the defendant on the stand, is they're treating her as if she is a state's witness against Chucky, who would be the defendant. You know, they're setting up the exact line of questioning that you would expect from a witness against Chucky being the defendant. And you need to make the jury think that he's the bad guy. The jury needs a bad guy. Somebody needs to go to jail, but it's not this woman.
Yeah. And Chucky is the one with several convictions, armed robbery, and violence towards women.
Yeah.
one of the women is his baby mama. One of his baby mamas. So he has a history of violence towards women. But he snitched on Lisa Dykes, and the prosecution took the easy route because they wanted a murder conviction. They wanted a murder trial and a conviction for murder. Had they chosen to charge all of them, we don't know who of them did it, but we can prove that they all were in on hiding the corpse, evidence tamper, destruction of evidence, everything of that. And with Chuck is past, he's looking at 20 to life in Texas. Dykes and Morales are looking at 5 to 20. That should have been the end of it. But since Beltran chose to snitch, they are going with the murder. Murder 1 against Lisa Dykes. Now, where were we? Hold on. Bum, bum,
You got the
bum.
right spot pulled up. I don't remember where I ended.
I do. Let's see here. Dun, dun, dun.
Hopefully it goes smoother than yesterday, because I can't stay for your full stream. I did message Flux, though, because I think she'd be good for this.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to send her the link.
Oh, I sent it to her.
Okay.
I sent her a link and I texted her so that she'd see, because she's like, I'm better if you just text me instead of like DM her on X or something. So I texted her and then sent her a link on X. So if she's available and she wants to, she'll probably jump on at some point.
Yeah. Let me just pop out the chat so I can read from both. But we are over at Rumble as well.
On the ground. Well, hello and welcome to the chat. And glad you are here chatting, as well as DK Cripple. I don't know you. I'm sure Nick does. But hey, chat, long time no see. So, and Yvette is in the chat. I'll just, while you're getting all the mechanical stuff going, I'll say hi to everybody. We got Yvette in the house, Fedorowski.
Now I got the Making Law Simple and viewers just joined. Hi, MLS. I'm pinning the Rumble chat.
Did they just join? Oh, well, you know, so people might be joining late because they could have been behind.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, that's true.
Is my audio cutting out? Nick sounds fine. I don't have a cat chewing on the cables.
Which one is cutting out?
Yeah. If it's everyone, probably on your end. Okay, so this is a little portable microphone.
Rumble, still not banned here. Oh, hello. Hello over at Rumble.
I'm not a big fan of this mic. But it's a portable one, so that's why I have it.
So I'm good. And both.
Oh, everyone's saying both of us are cutting out. Like a lot of people.
Huh.
That's weird.
That's really weird. Huh.
I think it was YouTube. It's fine now. Okay.
Not
I don't know.
Now, though. Okay, now.
It's fine now.
It stopped. Okay, it might, because I'm closing down a lot of windows, so it might be from my end because I'm running the StreamYard.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, that could be.
Okay. For you who weren't with us during the ODR stream, I did. I said $100 to Zachary Anderson's defense fund and $20 to me, and I will take a shot of whiskey. And yeah. So I took 5 shots during the last stream.
And it's only 2:30 in the afternoon.
It's 8:30 p.m. in Sweden. So I think I'm good.
Does that make it better?
Yeah. Because it's for SAC. It's for Sakurai
Yes,
Anderson.
that's okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So we are currently at.
You have actually 4.5 shots to go, sir. Because you took a half a shot at the end.
No, the half a shot was for because Brandon was whining about it. So I have 5 shots
So you have
during this
5
stream.
shots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
And
Bandwidth.
whatever else comes in.
Bandwidth. Let's see. Let's start the measuring. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a bandwidth issue for sure.
Oh, I have good download and good upload, but I have a response of 160.11 milliseconds. So that might be it. Let me close down a bunch of windows so I can.
Usually I find that it's my computer. That's what I was having an issue with yesterday on your stream because I was I was trying to process a video and it just takes all the bandwidth my computer has.
Yeah, but I bought a new computer just a few months ago, and it has. Let's see
Round
here.
trip times
I
while
will
you're
actually.
streaming.
I mean, I have 64 gigabit RAM, and I have
now
a
you're
Ryzen 5
frozen.
5600. If that means
Now you're getting all glitchy.
no, they oh okay. Let me change between. Let me change between router and mobile internet. So because Sweden at the moment in the 830 is minus 12 Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit?
Minus 12 Celsius would be 20 degrees, 21 degrees,
Yes.
something like that. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, plus wind and stuff. So it might be
10 degrees.
Yeah. I think it's the latency. Because I have 22 down and 8 up, but my latency is 150 milliseconds. So that might be it. But let me change between router and mobile and see if that helps. I might glitch a bit.
You glitch out, so I can just talk to people. Hello, everybody. Negative 12 Celsius is 10 Fahrenheit. Yes. I always start with 20 Celsius is around 70 Fahrenheit, and then I just sort of estimate going around. I guess we could do with 0 and 32. We could start there too.
And I'm
and 100
back.
with 212. Hey, you look better.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I do my best. I took a shower this morning. All right, it seems to be. As for now, I'm doing everything through router and mobile internet, which means by air. And my closest tower is, I think it's about 20 miles away.
Radio waves are affected by atmospheric conditions.
Yeah.
And Wi-Fi is a radio wave.
Yeah. And I have ordered what do you call it? The because
Booster?
they dug down the fiber, so I'm just waiting for them to get over here and dig all the way into the house, so I get fiber
That'll be
broadband.
nice.
Yeah,
you'll be really fast.
Yeah, hopefully by the end of February I will get fiber broadband 500.
I have there's another YouTuber in Michigan I was talking to, and he just moved. He bought some land and built a home, and the home is 800 feet from the road, and AT&T and the other internet providers will not run cable that far.
Oh,
so now he needs to build like a gatehouse down by the road. to have the internet run into that, and then he can run his own cable up to the house.
Yeah,
That's what
but
he's
here's
working
the
on. But he
thing,
can't stream live right
yeah.
now.
Sweden had this purchase order for companies to build all the fiber internet, and 2024, after that, it's gone. Then it's up to everybody to build it by themselves. So the company who put in the bid for my area, which is Lund Greater Area, if they don't build here, they won't get it. And even though it's farmland and rural, they want it, because as long as they build it, they get an additional 2 years expansion of that bid. So that's what they're hoping for. Yeah, Starlink is expensive by Swedish terms, because once I get my 500 in, I pay, I think, $60 a month for my internet. And that is 500 fiber broadband. And I can pay 80 or $90 for 1,000. So, but I don't need that. Not, yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, Swedish broadband internet is internationally, it's extremely cheap. I mean, once this broadband, no, I do have to pay something in the excess of $3,000 to get it dug into the house. But then I pay $50 a month for 500. I mean,
I like my little stress ball.
I like alcohol more. And since Brandon already paid for it, for you who don't know, we are apparently doing a fundraiser for the Zachariah Anderson Defense Fund.
It's very
$100
spontaneous.
spontaneous. $100 to Zachariah Anderson's Defense Fund and $20 to me, and I will take a shot of whiskey. And Brandon paid for 5, so he paid in $500 to the Zachariah Anderson Defense Fund, and $100 to me via PayPal. Because if you don't want to pay YouTube 40%, you can pay it to via PayPal, and they will take, I think it's around 2 to 5%, something like that. So we are currently at $48,001 towards Zachariah Anderson's Defense Fund. We are missing $1,999. And if we achieve the goal of $50,000 by the end of January, Zachariah Anderson has all the initial costs covered for his appeal. That's amazing. And it's all thanks to you guys. Yes, YouTube takes 40%. And for you who don't know, I then have to pay taxes on what I receive. So that's fun. Whew. Oh, Dave's gone. Where's Dave? Dave! Dave's not here. I'm Dave. Dave? Yes, it's Dave. Dave? Yes, it's
What?
Dave. Dave's not here. Have you seen that Cheech and Chong skit?
No, I never got
haven't?
into Cheech and Chong. I don't like them. No, my
They
wife
have-
loves them. Were
you
they
have
big in
never-
Sweden?
Yeah. But you've
Okay,
never seen the Dave skit?
I have. I don't get into Cheech and Chong. Yeah, I've seen it. I was just gonna say I gotta jump off real quick and deal with my son for a minute, and then I'll be back. I'm sure you'll be going. And
I have
drinking.
healing, not Telemordu. So I have healing.
Nice. All right, I'll be back in a few.
Okay.
All right.
Oh yeah. Scandinavia was really popular in Scandinavia. Now, whatever you do, don't bring smokables to Sweden. Because Sweden passed a law last summer that says if you have more than 1 gram of cannabis, that is intention to sell and will bring you an obligatory 6 months in prison. So don't go to Sweden for cannabis. 1 gram. I'm not kidding. I really am not. Welcome to Sweden. Most of the rest of the Western world is yeah, you have to think positive, but no, just don't. But where were we? Yes, the Marisela Botello murder trial, and yeah, we will watch the rest of Lisa Dykes' testimony. Now, this is bad sound. We know that, but I will enhance it. You let me know if court sound. It's a lot of background noise, but as long as you hear court and everything. Oh, wait a minute. I need to get. Dun dun dun. I need to have jingles. Mr. Jingles, who is currently munching on pork rinds. He likes it as much as I do. All right, we will listen to the final parts of day 6 of her testimony. She will continue into day 7, and then the defense will rest, and then it's closing arguments, and then I will skip all the deliberations and go directly to verdict. So, here we go.
After you survive that death scare, I mean, how does that affect your life?
I think it affects everything. Like, whenever you come that close, not once, I mean, once is enough, but twice, I think you have to reevaluate your life, like what you're looking for in life, if you're where you need to be in life, and you think about what's going to happen to your children and your future at that point.
So at that time, did you reevaluate?
Oh, I have to. They were arrested in Florida. They got ankle because they bailed out. They got ankle monitors. Lisa Dykes and Nina Morales, and this is huge for this trial. They cut off their ankle monitors and fled to Cambodia. Now, she's given in her testimony a somewhat reasonable explanation because every time they try to do anything, like they moved into a house, the day after, their location was leaked, presumably by the prosecution or the investigators. They got their car got their tires sliced and everything. So everybody was after Lisa Dykes and Nina Morales. So they fled to Cambodia, which still is an extremely bad move.
What you were doing and what things you wanted to do in life?
Absolutely.
And so what happened after that?
I've raised children, I feel like, from the time I was born. Like, my kids are older, but they've always been with me, and I've always been spending money on them. There's never enough money. It's gone before you get it. So my retirement wasn't right. It wasn't where it needed to be. I obviously needed to start putting money back for retirement and get my life straight for that. And plus, I don't want to work all the time. Like, I didn't want to work all the time.
So did you heard Jimmy say you kicked everybody out? What's your version of that?
That's not correct. Like, I wanted to go back home to Florida. Like, Texas is great, I'm sure, but I'm from Florida. Primarily, I wanted to go back home. So the whole goal was for me to move the family back to Florida while I was waiting on some larger cases to settle so that I would have more cash flow. So we invested. I gave them the money for a down payment on a house. They bought the house. I helped to get them there, paid off my son's car so that he would be able to help pay that payment and put them in the house in Florida.
So your plan was always to go back to Florida?
Absolutely.
And at some point, you and Nina wanted to go back to Florida.
It was always our intent to go back to Florida.
In fact, did you have a business there?
We did. We opened a business during COVID, a law firm together that was doing personal injury, and it was doing well.
Okay. All right. Tell us how you met Charles Beltran.
He was working for my son, Kyle, as a bouncer at a bar in D-Bell. I was actually looking for workers to work a poll, an election poll, for a local judge here in the civil divisions. And I needed, I think, 15 people under a certain age and demographic bracket to work this poll. So Kyle introduced me to several of the young men that are in the area and young women. And I got their phone numbers. They got my phone number to work this situation.
Okay. How did you end up investing in rap career?
I'm sorry?
How did you end up investing in Chuck's rap career?
I met him in April. He reached out to me at some point, and he reached out to me to make connection. And it was primarily for someone to fund him in his career choices. He actually talked to me from April on through the time whenever I moved the children out of the house in August. But he presented himself well. He also had had a fairly successful career in Austin, not like what you heard here that was played. It was actually something where he was invited to a couple of locations, and he was working with other people in his career. So perhaps they were the more talented aspect, but he had a more successful kind of career choice.
But were you initially, again, was it a love interest thing?
No, Chuck was and continued to always be a business interest that went sideways.
In fact, why did you buy the car?
I bought the car as an investment and a tax deduction, basically, for him in his career. I set up a company for him called Math Class. That was his company for him to be able to do this music and to record.
I mean, y'all helped him with a lot of legal stuff, right?
We did.
And before I forgot it, he had paternity issues.
He did.
Yeah.
He had paternity issues with Jasmine, and he had visitation issues with Emerald out of Austin.
Yes, Charles Beltran, at least 2 baby mamas. He paid nothing. He was tens of thousands of dollars behind in child support. He paid nothing. In and out of jail. The last conviction was violence towards one of his baby mamas.
And were y'all helping him with that?
Yes, at his request.
At his request?
Yes.
Any notion about you trying to steal Jasmine's baby?
I raised 3. I don't want any more babies. I would never.
All right.
2 down, 3 to go.
I want to move forward and let's just get to the point. This trip to Arkansas. First, I think you indicated it wasn't even a scheduled trip.
Not for me and Nina.
How'd you end up going on the trip?
We had paid for them to go. We had paid for the hotel. We had paid for all of it for them to actually perform. It was a performance. When we couldn't fly to California, Chuck had 2 tickets that were his, that were comp tickets. And he said, well, who would I take but you two? Like, you've, funded this, you're part of it, so will you go? It was like about a 4-hour ride, I think. So that's something that I could tolerate. As long as I'm sitting down or laying down, that's okay. I could do that.
Now, you heard Dad
Feeling
everybody
whiskey.
said you were driving. Is that true?
No, I was in the passenger seat and it was reclining.
Okay. So who was driving?
Dina was driving.
Okay. When y'all are down in Arkansas, you heard, I think it was Freddie, they were joking about Chuck having to come to your room to have sex with y'all. Did he have come to your room and have sex with y'all?
Absolutely not.
But did he come to the room and have a drink?
I think he might have. I think he did.
When y'all finished, do you remember when y'all got back to Dallas?
I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. What Lisa Dykes here is claiming, because the prosecution and Charles Beltran had said that this is both transsexual, as in money, and sexual, that Lisa Dykes forbade him from having sex with Nina because of jealousy. And also, Lisa Dykes funded his music career. Now, I don't understand why she would ever think about funding someone's music career, especially Charles Beltran, aka Chucky 5050, who his own friends says he was a 3 out of 10 music-wise. But all of this trial, which most of us have seen, I'm convinced that at some point Charles Beltran went to a crossroads, buried coins. Something walked up to him and gave him the choice of a successful music career or a magic dong. And Charles Beltran chose a magic dong. Because his former girlfriends took the stand the other day, and both of them still wants him in their life. One of them is the woman he met while he was on the run from this. He met her at a Walmart in Miami. He picked her up, lied about his name. A few weeks later, she finds out he lied about his name. She checked him up and saw that he was a person of interest in a missing persons case. And what did she do? Did she call the cops? No. Did she run away? No. She helped him evade law enforcement. And to this day, on the stand, this woman said she's friends with him, and when he gets out of prison, she wants to reconnect. I don't know what's going on with him. A loser, a failed rapper who relies on other people's charity, but somehow he gets women to do what he wants. So he has to have a magic dong.
What time it was, but we checked out at about 11-ish, so I think it's a 4-hour drive, which would put us mid-afternoon.
Okay. As far as when y'all get back, who takes the van back?
Nina and I took the van back.
You didn't trust Chuck to take the van back?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so y'all take the van back.
Yes.
Once you take the van back, do you recall what y'all did up at that point?
I don't specifically. I think we stopped and got food and went home and watched TV.
Okay. And that would be October the 4th, right?
Yes, sir.
That's Sunday.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, and I forgot. We had to go pick up the dog because we had boarded in.
All right.
So we went and got the dog.
And tell us about this dog.
Chuck had brought home a dog.
What type of dog?
He was a pit bull mix.
And
And the dog's name was uniquely Charles. So we had a dog.
who took care of that dog?
I did.
Did Chuck take care of the dog at all?
The dog hated Chuck. Absolutely. When he brought the dog home, he said that he wanted it for some protection in the house, extra protection in the house. And the dog was okay with him for a while, but Chuck used to beat the dog. So the dog started to get to a point where he was growling every time Chuck was around. He was not having Chuck around.
And where did that dog stay?
He slept in my bed. He
Because
stayed.
well, when Nina was there, did she sleep in the bed with you?
Yes.
All right. Was he almost like a service dog to you?
He was like a comfort animal, more than a service.
If a dog hates a person, trust the dog. Dogs have much more instinct than humans. And his own dog hated him.
So he stayed with us all the time.
But you took care of him.
I took care of him.
And so when y'all went to Arkansas, y'all boarded him.
We boarded him for that day.
And when you got the dog,
We went and got the dog.
anything else uneventful happened on that, I guess, Sunday?
Not at
that you
all.
recall?
Not at all.
Okay. Now, during that time period, was Nina working on a big case?
Yes, just as I had said, she had a particularly large case with a building that was in the city where the elevators were failing off and on. So all of the tenants and the tenant association was really upset with it.
Okay. And was she receiving and sending, I guess, packages back and forth?
Yes, in particular discovery. So she was in a process of discovery on this with maintenance records and dealing with the maintenance people that work for the city of New York with this building.
On that weekend, she's working on her case. Was she anticipating some documents?
She was.
I guess that Monday, was she still looking for the documents?
Yes, they were supposed to come in, I think, Monday morning in early delivery, but they didn't show.
Okay, because the documents didn't show. What did y'all do?
Well, we were kind of in dire straits because Nina really needed them because when she flew back, she had a hearing, I think. So it was something that we had to have. So she started to look for where the documents were.
All right. And short later that evening, did y'all go to a FedEx?
We did.
All right. And you seen we talked about the FedEx that you went to. It wasn't in Wilmer, was it?
I don't believe it was. No, it was more toward the Hutchins area, maybe.
Okay. They and is this tell me to the jury a little bit about the FedEx location y'all ended up going to.
It was one of the larger distribution centers in the area. Like it's like a major kind of hub area. That's one of the bigger ones.
And is it all 45 though?
I believe it is, yes.
And again, it's not in Hutchins, right? I mean, it's not in Wilmer, but it's in Hutchins.
I think so.
And is it in that same vicinity that they're saying that your phone's pinged?
I believe it is.
One moment, please.
So I think it's a good time to take our afternoon break, ladies and gentlemen. We will be at recess for 5 minutes.
All right.
That's the break. Before they get on, please hit the thumbs up if you have social media. I don't mind if you share my link over there. My X is, hold on, I will show you. Start of Niklas. So you can share it with your friends. Help me get out to more people. This is Dallas. Texas. So not Fort Worth, it's Dallas. I've said it throughout the trial. Every piece of physical evidence points to Chucky, but he blames Lisa. So if you go back and listen to Chucky's testimony and Lisa's testimony, and
Yes.
who is more credible? Lisa Dykes, paralegal, no criminal history. Or Chucky 50-50, several felonies, including violence towards women. Now, I don't know what happened in his room, but for me, my current theory is she went there for weed. That's it. Her friend testified too that Mr. Beltran is nowhere near a guy she would ever go for. She was going for clean-cut good guys. Now, she was on vacation and stuff happens on vacations. I don't care. My current theory is he hadn't weed. He said, I have weed over here. She went with him. They went there. They drank. They smoked weed. He tried something. She said no. He didn't care. Because he don't. He really don't care about if women, in my opinion, if women says yes or no. And 6 months later, her body or her remains turns up an hour away. Again, a year after they found her remains, they found human bones on the same place. So for me, if we go by who did it, I really don't know. If we go by the standard reasonable doubt, everything in this case screams reasonable doubt. But let's continue.
All right.
Remember to give to Zachariah Anderson's defense fund. Three
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Dykes,
down, 2 to go.
this FedEx distribution center, well, you heard this turn tree address, what is it, 274 turn tree
Yes, sir.
in Wilmer. You did live there at one point,
We did. Yes.
like back in 2016, right?
Yes.
Is that how you know about this FedEx distribution center over in Hutchins?
It is. I used to work in downtown Dallas for another law firm, obviously. And
The $50,000, which is the goal, will pay for Zachariah getting all the transcripts, which is in excess of $10,000. He has hired Natalie Wisco for his appeal. And she's not cheap. If I had the choice of anyone I know of in the Wisconsin area, I would choose Natalie Wisco as an appellate. Also, in this involves an investigator to look into the witnesses and everything around that, and everything around it. Now, the total of his entire appeal is probably in excess of 100,000, but this gets him the bare minimum. Not even the bare minimum. He gets Natalie Wisco. And if you see Natalie Wisco, you know that Wisconsin prosecutors hate her because she annihilates prosecutions. Completely annihilates. So it can they do a retrial after? That depends on the ruling from the appellate court. We need the best possible appeal to the appellate court. And Natalie Wisco, in my personal opinion, is the one to bring us there. Now, if it brings us a retrial, excellent. Because after the fact, we have so much more evidence of prosecutional misconduct. So much more the defense can act on in a retrial. Nothing is a guarantee in anything in US trials. This is what guarantees a good appeal. And that's the first step, a good appeal. This has been running for 4 months, I think. And I've been doing my drinking streams for Zachariah for as long as it had to. And I will keep doing it. Because in my opinion, Zachariah Anderson shouldn't have been charged at all. Because there's simply no evidence whatsoever that he committed any of the crimes he was convicted of. But we're here for this trial, so let's keep going with this.
Pay attention to where these FedEx centers are because I use them a lot. So it's part of what I do. And a lot of times you have to drop off and you need a place that's a bigger facility that has longer hours or you know that it'll ship quicker. So I always pay attention to those things.
Okay, now, as far as this facility was concerned, y'all were picking up,
Yes.
or Nina was picking up.
Nina was picking up from work. Yes. They had sent her the package that she needed.
Okay, and she had been trying to locate that package.
She did try, but
No, Zachariah was convicted once, but for stalking the alleged victim, stalking Sadie, and the unaliving and hiding of the corpse of Rosalia Gutierrez. And in my personal opinion, the crime scene doesn't even say Rosalia was unalived, in my opinion.
it's so hard and she needed it really quick. So like tracking it electronically wasn't working like it needed to. So it just made sense to go someplace and get some help with it.
All right, now when y'all go down to this distribution center, well, if I told you that the address was 1101 East Cleveland Road in Hutchins, Texas, would that be about right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
And how far would you say that that's from your house?
I think it's probably a 20, 25-minute drive, maybe.
From Mesquite?
Yes.
Just hit 635, 20, boom, you're there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
All right. May I approach you?
But
Let me show you what's marked as defense exhibit number 11 and 12.
last I had was defense exhibit 10.
Yes, ma'am. Let me show you what's marked as defense exhibit number 11 and 12. Does this look like it's just a MapQuest where we pulled up that location in relation to your home and where that FedEx distribution center is?
Yes, sir.
Will this assist you in testifying to the members of the jury the route that you recall y'all taking that day?
It does, yes.
All right. Judge Alloff was marked as defense exhibit number 11 and defense 12.
No objection, Your Honor. All right,
Commissioner
defense,
Bowles.
well, defense exhibits 11 and 12 are admitted for all purposes.
Thank you.
You may.
Now, just so members of the jury know, we're saying your house would have been somewhere up in here, right?
Yes, sir.
And then y'all travel to Hudson's here.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, do you recall when y'all got on 45, what exit were y'all supposed to take?
I don't know the number, but it's like Dowdy Ferry.
The check was marked as defense 13. Defense 12, I'm sorry. And is this Dowdy Ferry here?
Yes, sir.
And just so members of the jury know, when you come out 45, you loop and come in this area here, and that's where the distribution center is.
Yes, it's someplace back in there. It's sort of like off.
All right. So at some point when y'all are trying to get to the distribution center, do y'all miss the turn at Dowdy Ferry?
Yes, we did.
And where did y'all end up having to turn around at?
I think it was like wintergreen.
Okay. So would Wintergreen be in this area here, or is it East Wintergreen?
Yes.
So you come further down 45 south, exit is 273.
When you come to iOS, I think you have to go out of the app and into the actual browser if you want to do donations and super chats and stuff. It's a Dutch invasion. Moving slow, I assume. Thank you, folks.
And then y'all would loop back around, right?
Yes, sir.
And go back up till you get to the distribution center, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is basically what we see here, right? Going back up to the distribution center in this area.
Yes, sir.
All right. As far as the towers that they showed, that you saw the state show, if you were in that area, would that explain why your phones were pinging in that area?
I would assume so.
Did you go to Winwood that day?
No.
Other than going to that Wintergreen 45 and looping back up and go to the distribution center, did you ever go to, what is it? I think it was 3600 Post Oak and drop a body out?
No, sir.
I do want to talk to you a little bit more about the distribution center so the members of the jury will understand. Again, this is a huge distribution center, right?
Yes, it's
And when you-
extremely large.
When y'all get there, do you have trouble finding somewhere to park?
Nina did have trouble finding some place to park. There's a lot of folks that come and go from there.
All right, and as far as that, was she trying to find somewhere to park up close at first?
She was, because obviously, like, we generally do things together, but like I'm not walking any distance at all, so that's not happening.
So at some point she parked, tried to go in, or went in, right? Because you didn't go in.
No.
Okay. At some point, is she able to pick up the package?
She went in, but I think we might have been late. I'm not sure, but she didn't get the package.
After y'all leave that distribution center, what y'all do?
We went back home.
Did she subsequently find a way to get her package?
I'm assuming she did. Like, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming she did, or managed to get the documents another way.
Okay. At any time while y'all were in that Hutchins area, did you have Marisela with you?
No.
All right, let's get to talk about Charles Beltran.
Yeah, remember, no DNA or blood or hair or anything was found in the car that Lisa Dykes and Nina Morales was driving.
I think when we left off, we were talking about Charles the dog.
Charles the dog.
Okay. I want to talk to you about Mr. Beltran working. Did he actually work for your son?
As I understand it, yes. He was a bouncer at the club.
And at some point he got fired, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
For his activities there at the club, right?
Yes, he did.
Not just being aggressive with the women.
No, not just that.
Issues he was having with other patrons.
He was fighting every night, and he was a bouncer. So he was getting into altercations and fights every night.
And is this something he would brag to you and Nina about?
Yes.
When you met him, did you know he had a felony conviction?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't know what kind of convictions he had. He said that he had just gotten out of a halfway house.
What about the
Yeah. This is something that speaks against Lisa and Nina. They met a guy who was out of a halfway house. Nina Morales is an actual lawyer. Lisa Dykes is a paralegal. And none of them checked him out, Googled his name, checked his name in the... These are public records. They would easily have found out, oh, women beater, armed robbery.
Santa Muerta? Where did he say he got Santa Muerta from?
He did talk to me about Santa Muerta and said that he had learned about it while he was in jail, and then he practiced. So he practiced the religion.
All right, and so the altar that we see in your home in Mesquite belonged to him, correct?
It did.
In fact, it's in the same, was that in his room or in the one of the other rooms?
It's in the closet in his room from the picture.
All right. And while we're on it, let's talk about Pennsylvania and this altar that's supposed to be in Pennsylvania. Can you explain to members of the jury what that was all about?
Yes, I'd be happy to. We listed this house for sale. Nina, being an attorney, had documents from private clients that she had that we had in a hall closet. It's a locked entryway closet, and there was a lock on it for a reason. The paperwork and things that we had there were client attorney privileged. We didn't want that information out where the house was being shown. Her husband, Bill, had kind of a weird sense of humor. So in this closet, there was a Halloween skeleton that's full size, like human size. And he had put, because they were Mormon, a Mormon religious piece of clothing on it. It's like a long white robe.
Nina and Bill were Mormons? Why are there always Mormons involved? Jesus Christ.
But it was bundled up in unfloored closet. It's not anything else. So it was just a bunch of stuff and storage that we had in there that we kept locked, including paperwork that we didn't want shown to people coming to look at the house.
Well, you heard the neighbor from Pennsylvania said y'all were kneeling to it, praying to it. Remember that?
I remember her saying that, and I also have no concept why she would have said it. We never did that.
Did that skeleton have anything to do with Santa Muerta?
Absolutely not.
That the person testifying about that was her hairdresser, which the prosecution had on for an hour and a half.
Okay, back to Mr. Beltran. Now, you don't have any felony convictions, right?
No.
What you have some death check or something like that?
There was 2 return checks to Costco that I didn't know anything about until I came here to Dallas on these charges, and they served me with those. So those return checks happened while I was in Pennsylvania.
But those checks out of Rockwall?
They're out of Rockwall.
Oh, and wasn't there something about a gun? What
Yes,
gun at the
sir.
airport?
Yes, I had a very, very, very small antique handgun that was completely jammed. A bullet was jammed in the chamber, so it wouldn't fire, wouldn't shoot. I took it to a gun shop that was really close to the house, but the gunsmith wasn't there. And I did it right before I was flying to see the kids that weekend. Forgot I had it. When I got to the airport, I realized the minute I was going through security, I was like, no, I have a gun in this purse. So I told them at the spot that I did. I was never actually arrested on that charge. It was a situation where they told me if I had a concealed carry permit, the gun wouldn't have been an issue. I could have taken it back out and put it in the locker or in the car and gone on the trip. But I was never actually arrested with that. I was stayed at the airport facility, and it was dismissed, and I left him at home.
Okay, but I do want to ask you, Chuck did carry a gun, didn't he?
All the time, every day, any place that he went.
I want to talk to you. When did he actually move in with you?
He moved in August whenever the children moved out to the house in Florida.
And I say moved in with you. I mean, You're not the only person he lived with, right?
No,
I mean, you knew he had an apartment, right?
absolutely.
Or an apartment that he also stayed with some other women.
Absolutely. He stayed in a couple of different locations with women, I believe.
But particularly one woman, this Carmen, right?
As I understood it, yes.
And it wasn't just Carmen, there was other women at that place too.
Yes, from what I understood.
So he moves in, you buy him all that studio equipment.
Yes,
That's true.
absolutely.
He sets up a studio in your house.
He does.
And is he working at first?
He did. He was extremely devoted to it. He kept a whiteboard on the wall. He had scheduled songs that he was doing, scheduled recording times. He had someone coming over to help him produce. So he was actually doing what he was supposed to do. He was trying to create music to actually put on iTunes and make money off of it.
And were you investing in that?
Yes,
The video that I forced the jury to watch, did you pay for that?
yes, I did.
That video and the way he's acting on that video, is that Chuck?
Yes, it is. All the time.
That's not a show, right? That's who he really is, isn't it?
That really is him.
Yeah, we might have rewatched about 30 minutes of the testimony. Sorry, I blame
As far as
Brandon.
that studio and as far as him bringing women, were you jealous about him bringing women?
Absolutely not.
As far as him bringing people to the house, did you ever have an argument with him about having some men that you ran into in your own house?
I did. I came home one night from work at 7 o'clock and I didn't know anybody was there. So I went to my room, changed clothes, came in, and got surprised in the kitchen by a strange man who walked out. And Chuck wasn't there.
Okay, and did that upset you?
Very much so.
And did you let him know that?
I did. I told him that I really didn't want anybody in the house unless he was there, particularly men, whenever I wouldn't know there was anybody in the house with me. So,
Okay, but as far as these women, you heard him say, hey, he brought women over there all the time. Is that true?
he did. He would bring not one, sometimes two, three.
And did guys sometimes come with them too?
Absolutely.
They'd be back up in that studio, right?
Absolutely.
They were doing their thing, you were doing your thing.
Yes,
Did he brag about pulling trains on people?
he did.
Now, what is pulling the train?
He particularly seemed to like having a friend of his, a male friend of his, come over to be with the girls that he brought home. So that's basically 2 guys and a girl.
Brag about it.
Absolutely.
What, did that make you jealous?
No.
So what she's claiming, this was purely transactional. She had nothing to do with it. Her and Nina did their thing. Charles did his thing.
Was Nina there?
Yes.
Were you and Nina there in your room asleep?
Yes, with the dog.
On that day, did you ever come in contact with Marisela?
No.
When Chuck arrived there with her, according to the phone records, in the early morning hours, did you ever know he was there?
No.
Anything unusual about him arriving at your house in the early morning hours?
No.
You heard him say that at some point you came into that room and you.
The only people who actually told about them doing things is Charles and the prosecution claiming it. So you have to believe Charles 100% to believe this was actually lesbian couple with man toy boy.
Stabbed Marisela. Did you go into the room and stab Marisela?
No.
Did you struggle with Marisela?
No, absolutely not.
Did
No.
you argue with Chuck about Marisela?
No.
Had you ever met Marisela?
No.
In reference to this whole Chuck Marisela ordeal, how did you find out about it?
I found out about it whenever the FBI agent showed up and called me on the phone.
Okay, now before that,
4 down, 1
gone
to
into
go.
Chuck's room and cleaned his room up.
No.
So as far as whatever blood was in there, who cleaned that blood up, you have no idea.
I have no idea.
You just know it wasn't you.
I know I wasn't. No. I didn't go in the room. No. It wasn't me.
It wasn't Nina.
It wasn't Nina.
Oh,
on that night.
don't
you know how
breathe
many
and
people
take
you
a
had in the room
shot
to
at the same
I have no
time.
idea.
Oh,
The next morning, did you ever come in
hey,
contact
Dave.
with Marcella?
No,
Did you come in contact with Chuck?
Thank you for
No.
being a member for 8 months.
At some point,
Oh,
he leaves the,
yeah,
or at some
I
point,
agree.
you started out in the alley, right?
yes.
Because on the night of October the 5th, or the early morning hours of October the 5th, who's in the alley?
Chuck,
Sorry.
That next day, who was in the alley?
Chuck.
Don't breathe and take a shot of whiskey at the same time.
All right, you're the FBI agents saying that they came to talk to you.
Right.
All right. You tell members of the jury what you remember.
They apparently came to my house. I was at work. I was working. So I got a phone call from an agent that claimed he was an FBI agent while I was on the clock at work. So I talked to him there. His conversation with me was basically, do you know Chuck Beltran, or Charles Beltran, I think was what he said. And I was like, yes,
Thank
I
you
do.
for $2
How
super
do you know?
chat.
He lives at the
Levi
residence with
Chuckies.
me. So he lives there.
Now, let me stop you there. Up to this point, do you know anything about some missing girl from Seattle?
No,
You know anything about Charles Beltran being the last person seen with Marcel?
no, I had no clue.
All right, then what happened?
So I told him who he was, that he lived there. The agent didn't go into a whole lot of detail. He said something to the effect that he was the last person seen with a girl who was missing. And that was pretty much the gist of it. He asked me the last time I had seen him, which I think I told him it had been about 2 weeks, because at that point it kind of had been that long. So he asked me that. He told me when I spoke to him to let him know that he was looking for him, which I did promptly. I told him that.
So after you talked to the agent, you immediately called.
I called him. I said there was a FBI agent that showed up at the house who called me and said that he's looking for you. Here's who it is. That's pretty much what was said.
Okay. Did Charles go into detail about Marcel at that time?
No, he did not elaborate. He didn't say anything else about it. He was like, okay, he took the number supposedly, and that was that.
Did he seem worried at all?
No, not even a little.
Not a concern in the world
No,
that the FBI was looking for him?
no.
I do want to kind of backtrack. At some point, we talked about Beltran, Charles being in the car on October the 5th. At some point, did you drop Nina off at the airport in that vehicle?
Yes,
How did that take place?
I think her flight left on that Wednesday. And whenever I got up to take her to the airport, and then I was going back to work that day because I hadn't worked Monday or Tuesday. So when I went out to the garage, the Audi was there and my Hyundai was gone. So I took the Audi and drove to the airport and went to work.
All right, just so members of the jury know, that's really nothing unusual, right?
No, it wasn't.
Did he have keys to both vehicles?
Yes,
And you put gas in it, he'd run it out?
bring it, drop it off. I have another one. And he would do that while I was at the office too. I would not see Chuck. I would just go out from the office and a different car would be parked on the spot. So
And did that create problems for you at the office as far as your files and your documentation?
yes, because
Explain that to the members of the jury.
yeah, whenever you go home and you work from the office, like sometimes I would need the actual hard physical file. I couldn't just access it by online application to the office file. So I would take the physical file with me. So they would typically be in the back of my Tucson. So I could get them or I would take them back to work and they would be in the car. So when he would change his vehicles or leave with my vehicle and I couldn't get to it and have a file in the car, that's a real issue because they're active files and something that's being worked on every day. That can cause me to get fired. So him taking the vehicle and me not able to get a hold of him or him trade it back or me be able to get to that was a serious issue for me.
And you saw the phone record.
In my opinion, everything is Chucky's story. You have to believe Chucky 100% to find Lisa Dykes guilty of this. So between them, not only do you have to believe him, oh, he's more credible. No, you need to believe him beyond a reasonable doubt. Any reasonable doubt.
Earlier showing that you kept trying to contact him.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that's what that was about?
I'm pretty sure that's what that was about.
Did Charles ever tell you what happened to Marcel?
No,
What did he even talk about?
no,
I'm saying even after y'all realized that he was wanted, you were wanted, what did he talk about?
no. And I didn't know I was wanted until
Okay, we'll talk about that. as far as, after you talked to this FBI agent, right?
Yes, sir.
Did somehow your address end up on the social media?
Immediately, that same day.
What problems did that create for you?
It was havoc. That very day that he called me, that night I was at home and I got a text message from someone claiming to be an FBI agent. It was very threatening. It was, I know you know where
This
Chuck is.
we already
You
listened
need to have him here at such and such a time, such and such a day. Extremely aggressive. So, I mean, it really kind of throws you off. Like, I don't know who this person is.
30 minutes
I
ago,
actually
because we
texted
already
this
listened to
person
this.
back
Thank you,
Strong,
Scott,
you're
for reminding
negotiating
me.
for this
Oh.
job done, right?
that we were out on house arrest. People were,
Make sure I don't forget, because these girls that were at the apartment that Chuck also resided at, did you tell me, or did you say anything about him potentially being involved in trafficking?
I had suspicion that Chuck was involved with trafficking.
Why?
Okay. This we already listened to. She found clothes of very young girls.
You get the leg mark.
Yes. It was just made up things that were so derogatory, it was affecting everything. So we did do a cease and desist on it.
And did you feel as though it was putting you in danger?
Absolutely.
Were
No
you
question. Yes.
I
As
agree.
far as
The
the,
entire case rests on
well, what I'm getting at is.
people believing Shockey is
We
truthful.
Tell me the jury why.
We cut the monitors off because we both felt very much persecuted in this case. I do, as I'm sitting here in front of you today. I feel very much like Nina and I have been completely singled out in this case in a way that should not have been. Like, you consider, I was 57 years old when this incident happened. I did nothing but work and raise children all my life. Why would I even be suspicious in this? I've never been arrested. I have no criminal record. Nina's an attorney. She had never had any kind of criminal record. Like, we lived a life that was pretty much upstanding. We hadn't ever done anything like this.
But let me ask you, okay, you say you felt persecuted.
Yeah.
So why Cambodia?
Cambodia was a good place for asylum. Cambodia was a good place for us to find a new life, for us to live, for us not to have these situations. We looked at it. We looked at citizenship. We entered Cambodia legally. We didn't do anything illegal. We did everything you were supposed to do to come into a new country and try to nationalize or to get asylum there.
Okay. You were trying to get asylum because you felt persecuted,
Absolutely.
and were you afraid?
Yes, absolutely, both.
For your safety?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, at the time, right before we left and flew out, there was a black pickup truck that had started to park right outside of our house. And it would move on the street, but it was always there. One day, I went to the window, me and Nina were cooking in the kitchen, and this black truck is parked right outside our kitchen window. Whenever he saw us, he left. But it was definitely a man, and it was nobody we knew personally, and somebody that shouldn't have been there.
And did that give you concern?
Absolutely.
So when you went to Cambodia, did you do so out of necessity?
Yes. And our feelings, absolutely.
Sorry. Still, don't breathe and take a shot of whiskey at the same time. Bad idea.
Oh, and while you were on the leg monitor, you were trying to work, weren't you?
Absolutely. Like, I've always worked.
Okay. In fact, did you get a job off?
I did.
While you were on
Did
the leg monitor?
we all
I did.
It
listen
was
to
going to
this?
help pay for your legal expenses.
I did, yes.
What happened with the job?
And I got the job fairly quickly whenever we got out. My
Let's
resume
just
is really clean.
continue.
So I got this position with a law firm. He tendered an offer to me, which I accepted. With this leg monitor program, you have to get approval for everything you do. And you heard me.
When you say approval, you got your approval from the judge, right?
I do, yes. Anything you do. So I let my attorneys know that I had a job offer. They had to file a motion with a hearing before this judge to get this approved. There's a limited period of time, of course, because I had to start within a certain time range. I had given enough time for my start date to give me like a week or about that for the judge to give approval for me to do this the right way. The minute the motion was filed and it was, known by the prosecution, by the court system, that I had a job and that it was with this firm, the offer was rescinded before the hearing could even take place.
Okay. So, affecting your ability to work.
It would have been, it was an impossibility. Every time I would get an interview or try to get an interview, the time frame for me being able to get to that interview was impossible.
And you didn't think that was a coincidence, did you?
No, I definitely did not.
Is that why you kind of felt like y'all were being persecuted?
Yes, one of the reasons.
As far as I did want to. Let me see what's marked as medical judge.
Okay.
Thank you. What's marked as defense exhibit number 13. Is that Charles Beltran?
It is.
And is that the Santa Marta case that he had?
Yes.
And does this photo have significance to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much an indicator that he and his people are watching.
Judge Oliver, what's marked as defense 13.
No objection, Your Honor.
Permission to publish.
Defendant's exhibit 13 is admitted for all purposes, and yes, you may publish.
Again, this is Santa Marta film, correct?
Yes.
And this is Charles Beltran, right?
Yes.
And he's telling you that we're always watching.
Yes.
Was that threatening to you?
Very.
Did you believe that he and his people were always
Yeah.
watching?
Yes.
Is that why you went to
With
him?
the explanation,
Yes.
it sounds really
Is
bad.
that why you continue to send him money?
Yes.
To stay in contact with him?
Yes.
I'll pass it with you, sir.
Cross-examination. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, direct examination of Lisa Dykes is done. But as we saw in a previous stream, the defense did good against the lead detective, and then they left the prosecution 15 minutes, more or less uninterrupted, to rehash their case. So let's see how they do at this one. But first, and I will try to not breathe, but while doing this shot. And that brings us up to even. Thank you so much, Brandon. You're a soldier. Oh. Whew. Okay. Cross-examination of Lisa Dykes.
So, Ms. Dykes, you said you've been a paralegal for how long?
33 years.
33 years, and all in negotiations, right?
No, not all in negotiation. I've done personal injury. I'm primarily a litigation paralegal, so negotiation is not something I've always done.
Well, you did negotiations here in Dallas, didn't you?
I did for part of the time that I was with that firm.
And you're no stranger to the courtroom. I mean, you know how things work. You've been in the courtroom in your job for a long time. Is that right?
Yes.
And the soft-spoken Ms. Dykes that you are today, I mean, as far as negotiation, you're negotiating big cases. These aren't like little baby cases. I mean, these are important things, right?
Objection.
Technically, I didn't negotiate the big cases. I worked the big cases as far as the litigation aspects go.
Okay, but you're talking to attorneys, you're talking to other negotiators, you're talking to companies about, their money and things like that. Is that right?
Yes.
And you have to be fairly strong in your negotiations to get the job done. And you did get the job done, didn't you?
You have to know the files.
I mean, you have to be strong in your negotiations to get the job done, right? You can't just fall over and
Objection,
say,
leading.
okay, I give up, right? You have to know what you're doing and you have to be strong.
I think you have to be
Objection,
clear and
leading.
concise.
Okay. And as far as, again, you know enough about the legal field, you know enough about, what goes on in a courtroom to kind of understand some of the procedures, right?
I do.
Okay. So just a minute. I mean, you mentioned all these threatening things, and you were advised if there was anything that went wrong or anything else like that, you could either talk to Julian LaPierre or ELN.
I know she can lead, but you still have to object. Because the prosecution has a line of thought, you need to interrupt it.
Person, and you could talk to the judge about what was going on, and you never did that, did you?
No.
Okay, so you never told him about any of these issues that you had going on supposedly during your time on ELM, right? You're a smart enough woman to know you could have told them any of that,
Objection
and
leading.
they would have done whatever they could to make you feel better, right?
Which issues are you speaking of?
I'm talking about this truck that's outside. I'm talking about the people supposedly harassing you. You could have talked to the judge about that, right?
I feel that would
Objection. That is what do you call it? Reversal of burden of proof. She doesn't have to speak about anything.
probably been ineffective.
But you didn't try, did you?
No,
And you didn't tell Miss LaPere about any of that, did you?
no, she knew about the work problems.
Okay. And that was it, right? That was the only problem that you really talked to her about, right?
Yes,
And you're making this jury believe, I think, that you think the prosecution had something to do with you not getting the job, right?
I do believe that.
Okay, and you understand, Ms. Dykes, we don't have that kind of time. I mean, if you
Objection. Speculation.
don't know that, we don't have that kind of time.
I don't know what kind of time you have and you don't, ma'am, honestly.
Now, as far as Ms. LaPere is concerned, she was here earlier. Your counsel had a opportunity to ask her questions about that situation, didn't he?
He did.
Okay, and Ms. LaPere, she didn't say anything about notifying or having to notify the prosecution or the court at every request that you asked, right?
She did go over what you can and can't do while you're on ELN. She also did, I believe, testify to the fact that you had to have approval to work.
Now, I'm looking through all this stuff here, and you were talking about all these people that are harassing you and causing problems, and even before, back in 2020, before this incident happened, you know, all these terrible things that happened to you, and I can't seem to find a police report where you reported this stuff.
These are decent questions. If you were actually harassed, where's the reports?
You didn't do that, did you?
Where I reported what?
These problems that you were having, these people that are harassing you, these calls that you're getting. You didn't report any of that to the police, did you?
To be frank, ma'am, I don't trust police at this point in my life.
Well, at that time, you had no reason to, did you?
In 20,
Before you even knew that there was that the police were looking for you and trying to contact you, you had no reason to distrust police at that time.
the incidents that we're speaking of started to happen when the FBI agent showed up at the door on 10/13.
And there was nothing about that contact that would make you distrust police at that time, was it?
At the time that they were there,
At the time that the FBI contacted you on October 15th, you had no reason to distrust police, did
the
you?
text that night that I got from the gentleman claiming to be an FBI officer is pretty alarming. If he was an FBI officer, which I have no idea of knowing whether he was or not, that makes you start to distrust.
Well, he's just stated on direct that you asked for a picture of his badge and he didn't send you one.
He
And
didn't,
so at that point, I mean, you knew he wasn't legit, right?
not really. Like the
Okay,
fact
I
that he,
mean, Taylor Page,
Objection. Leading. Facts not in evidence. Everything. Seriously, defense, you need to get the prosecution off their line of thought.
rang your doorbell, stood in front of the Ring camera. You've seen that. That's how Ring cameras work. When the doorbell rings, you have an app on your phone and you can see that video, right?
no, I never saw the app. I never
Now I'm
saw
asking you, is that how
anything.
the Ring camera works?
I didn't have the app, and it was Chuck's Ring camera, so I didn't have any of that.
So speaking of Chuck, you mentioned, I mean, you made it a point right off the bat to talk about how violent he was. Again, I'm looking through all of this stuff, and I don't see one police report that you called in on Chuck the entire time that you all lived together. You didn't do that, did you?
I would not have. I would not dare to have done that.
Good question. Good answer.
He is not the kind of man you make a police report on and have anything come of that that's good.
Okay, so he's not the kind of man, I mean, if he does something in your home that you invited him into, that you put him up in, that you bought him all that equipment, that you bought him that car, that you paid for all his shoes and his clothing and things like that, he's not the kind of man that you could call and report him to the police and he get arrested and be out of your life. That's how simple it was, right?
It was not that simple. Chuck was not
Now,
the kind of guy
you
to.
talked about Chuck's friends.
Objection. Prosecution is not allowing the witness to answer. This is, I've been saying this for a good while now. The defense lawyer is inadequate. he really don't do much. For some reason, because even if you lose it, you need to interject.
Dax, Freddie, you know them, right?
I do know them through the
They've
club.
been to your house plenty of times, right?
They have.
Okay, and I mean, they talked about how everybody knew that you were in a relationship with Chuck, right? They talked about that.
They said that, yes.
Okay, and so it was common knowledge that this arrangement between you and Chuck really didn't have much at all to do with this rap career, if anything, because we saw Defense Exhibit 7. And any woman that is trying to save for retirement, save up, and make smart financial decisions is not going to feed money into that man and that kind of rap and that kind of video after she saw what was produced. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
His first productions out of Austin, as I had said, were
Ma'am,
much.
I'm asking about this
Judge,
production.
she'd be allowed to answer the question. I mean, I understand it on cross, but
Finally.
And my question to you is, after seeing what he produced on Defendant's Exhibit 7, Picture Me This, where the lyrics are dickety dick and lickety lick, no woman
She's now, the prosecution is now continues with a different question that should have been objected to. Ms. Dykes should have been allowed to answer the question that was actually asked.
trying to save for retirement is going to continue to invest in that, correct? That's my question to you.
They may, if there's a potential for improvement, if there's a potential for it to change, to reflect what the actual work that was done before is produced, then yes, they might.
You're trying to save for retirement, aren't you?
I'm trying to build an income stream that would sustain me through later years.
Now, as far as the court proceedings go, I mean, you bonded out in, I believe, May of 2021. Is that
Hi, Dave. We just got into the cross-examination.
Yeah, I've been watching a bit. It's interesting. They're asking some good questions, though it's very condescending. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them. But I love the last one that I heard, anyways, was like, really, a woman who's getting ready to retire is investing in this? You think that's reasonable? This music, this band?
Yeah, because nothing in her past says why this and why him.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I'm making dinner. I decided what I'm making. I'm making biscuits and gravy. So I got to make the sausage gravy, and I just threw the biscuits in the oven.
Oh, you asshole. I'm starting to get a bit hungry because I just got up with Brandon's super chats and donations. Yeah, I noticed you were a little slow on the uptake and slurring your words a bit. So I figured you were probably pretty close to meeting Brandon's quota. I'm sure.
right?
Yes.
Okay, and you got out first. When you got out, and you all were able to get a nice little house together and live together on ELM. And it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad, was it?
I was trying to get that off your head.
Okay, and looking at the pass slips.
This is the one. That's the one. Did she just stop in the middle of a sentence?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good for the defense, right?
Just a minute, Your Honor. I apologize.
Hi, Gigi. I said hi to you earlier, but I'll say hi again.
Hello.
I'll put these in order, Ms. Dykes, but looking at the pass slips, the very first time Your Honor, may I approach? Just to refresh your recollection of that, I'm showing was when Mark states 398 through 402, and it starts with 402. That's your signature right there, is that correct?
Yes.
If you'll just look through each of those, and do those look like the pass slips in your case from the time you bought it out to the time you closed the book?
Oh my God. Hit the mic more with your paper.
Now, Your Honor, state offer states 398 through 402 for all purposes.
No objection, Judge.
Starting in September, hold on. Okay. I'm sorry, Your Honor. 398 through 402. Yes, Your Honor. Are admitted for all purposes. Okay, permission to publish. Looking at states 402, this is September 21st. You signed that pass slip, and it just says discovery needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were here for.
Yes.
You didn't talk to anybody, any prosecutors. You didn't have to go to the courtroom. You just talked to your attorney and you left. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. States 398, October 1st, 2021. Your signature's not even there, is it?
No,
You didn't have to even show up in court, right?
I don't think so. I don't recall exactly, but I don't think so.
Okay, but you would have signed it if you had to show up, right?
Possibly.
Okay, October 29th, 2021. Again, your signature's not there, right?
Right. Yes.
So you didn't sign that pass slip either. November 29th, 2021, you didn't sign that pass slip, and that's in states 400.
Yes.
And then on.
But the defendant doesn't have to sign everything, right, Dave?
No, she doesn't have to sign anything. She just has to sign basically that she received notice of it. She's got an attorney at this time, right? It
Yeah.
seems highly inappropriate to ask her about this, but I'm wondering where she's going.
Yeah.
December 29th, 2021, you're actually in Cambodia at this time, right?
No, that's November 29th, 2021.
Okay, but it's reset to December 29th, 2021. Is that correct?
It was reset to that day. The day of that signature was November 29th, 2021.
Okay, you didn't have to sign that day either, right?
No.
So you're not having to spend any time up here.
No.
Okay. Chuck has a lot of tattoos, doesn't he?
Yes.
In fact, the one that's right there on your wrist, if you'll show that to the jury, please. Your Honor, may Ms. Dykes stand up and present her tattoo to the jury. She may stand up where she is. I'm going to show her tattoo. We're talking about the one right there on your wrist, right?
Mhm.
This one right there.
Right.
You're aware that Chuck has that same tattoo, doesn't he?
He does. Yes, he does.
Okay. So you are a 57-year-old woman investing in a rapper's career. You don't have any personal relationship at all, but you get a matching tattoo.
The tattoo is actually the logo for the business that I started for him, that I'm invested in, math class. That's what the tattoo is. And it's the logo for that.
Now, you and Nina are really close, aren't you?
Yes.
You know pretty much everything about each other, right?
Yes, I would think.
She talked to you while she was in Pennsylvania.
We have consistently kept a relationship for 16 years.
Okay, so she talks. You guys talk all the time.
We do.
Now, you mentioned that Bill
Getting
didn't
close
live
to
there.
hearsay.
But if Bill didn't live in Pennsylvania. Why is he keeping Halloween decorations there? That doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, that's not exactly what I said. They had a house together in Staten Island where they actually resided. This house is a house where they were repairing the house to sell it as a couple or to live in it as they chose to do. They did have personal property there from both of them.
Nanya, I said the same thing yesterday during the
Ms.
stream.
Scarpa
That was
stayed
the
up
wrong
this night
shirt to
that you
wear.
guys, knelt with,
Yeah.
right?
Ms. Scarpa
It's a really bad
had
shirt.
said what she said for whatever reason she did, but it was not true.
And Olivia Martinez, I almost said Rodriguez again. Olivia Martinez, she was somebody you were training, right?
She was someone I trained, yes.
And you guys kept the same office, didn't you?
She was put into my office so that I could train her,
Okay, so you guys shared an office, didn't you?
yes.
And as anybody that shares an office, you guys get in personal conversations, right?
Olivia liked to listen to my phone calls. As far as personal conversations go,
Objection,
no.
non-responsive, Your Honor.
Overruled. She's answered the question.
Listen to the specific question and answer that
What?
specific question if you can.
Logan.
If you don't know it. then you don't.
Did you have conversations with her? No, she liked to listen to my phone calls.
Thank you.
And then
Ms.
she
Dykes,
probably talked to me
being
about
in
it
the same
afterwards.
office with someone, you get in some personal conversations, don't you?
Not always, no.
Okay, but you did have some personal conversations with Olivia, didn't you?
About certain things.
And you talked to her about Chuck sometimes, right?
Honestly, no. I didn't talk to Olivia about Chuck.
You never talked to her about Chuck.
No.
Okay, you never talked to her about Nina either, did you?
No, actually, Nina, she met coming into the office. Nina used to come and sit with me in the office.
Okay, and you know that she testified that you all had several personal conversations at work. You recall that conversation,
I
right?
remember her testimony.
Okay, so there's a person number 2 that's lying, right?
Seems to be Olivia had some thoughts that weren't exactly correct.
Okay. And Kat DeLeon, she's a hairdresser. You went to her for years, didn't you?
I did.
And you guys were close, weren't you?
Fucking
No, she was my hairdresser.
Okay. And as a hairdresser, you know the gig. I mean, you stick with the same hairdresser for a while. They know your styles, they know your fashions, they know the things you like, right?
Should, yes.
Okay. And she was a good hairdresser, wasn't she?
She was good with color. Yes.
Okay. And she was good with cuts too, wasn't she?
Not so much
Then why'd you keep going?
because she was good with color.
Okay. But she still cut your hair too, didn't she?
She did. Yes.
Okay. And she was so good that you took Chelsea there too, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't have any personal conversations with Kat either, did you?
We did have personal conversations.
So you told her about Chuck.
I did tell her that Chuck was there in the house. Yes.
Okay. And you told her about you talked about him all the time, didn't you?
No, not all the time.
You talked about him frequently to her, didn't you?
When she asked, I answered her.
And of course, if he was this mean, awful, violent person, you could have told her. You would have told her that.
Not necessarily.
But you told her about the sex, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
You didn't tell her anything about you guys having any kind of sexual relationship.
No, I didn't because that wouldn't be true.
Nina spent quite a bit of time after Bill died in Pennsylvania by herself, right?
I don't remember exactly how long she was there. She first, when Bill died, she was in Pennsylvania. Yes.
Okay, so that was November. You guys actually started taking trips and things together on a fairly regular basis in maybe the summer of 2019. Does that sound about right?
No, I think that's too soon.
October 2019?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, and then he passes in, and that's when you guys really kind of started going from being best friends to taking this to a different level, right?
Nina and I still to this day are best friends. So the commitment to actually marry didn't come until April or May.
I'm not talking about marriage, Ms. Dykes. I'm talking about where you all start discussing and making a decision that this isn't just a best friend buddy situation, that we're going to be in a different type of relationship. That happened around October 2019. Is that right?
I think that's way too soon.
Okay.
It
But
wasn't
if you
there.
told Kat DeLeon that it was October 2019, that's mistaken?
I think Kat's probably off on that because we really didn't start even remotely thinking about anything like that until 20.
Bill passes in 2019. Is that correct?
I really don't remember. I think so.
November 2019, right?
I believe so.
And you and Nina, y'all start getting closer and closer. Is that fair to say?
Yes, she was going through a lot of things. I mean, we were already extremely, extremely close, but her suffering from Bill dying was pretty extraordinary. So, yes.
Okay, and you knew.
Hey, look at that. Colleen. Hey, Nick, I just got my female Viking Cruise shirt in the mail. I bought the Razorback tank top, and it is adorable. Yeah. Remembered? I mean,
Awesome.
yeah, that's awesome.
I want to know the quality. Can you tell us how the quality is? Because mine was crap, and I had to close my store down because of it.
It's in. I have so far through all my merch, I have not a single complaint.
Nice. That's very cool.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Colleen, for supporting my channel through your merch shopping and through your super chat. That means a lot. I'm amazed. Thank you so much. And hello, had a nap. Now back up for the stream. Oh, I wish I could take a nap. Oh,
You're almost through it, Nick. You're almost through it.
Yeah.
About some of her relationships too. Is that right?
I did.
You knew that she was having a relationship with a guy in Pennsylvania. I can't recall his name, but you remember that she was having a relationship with a guy in Pennsylvania.
No, she didn't really have a relationship with anybody in Pennsylvania. She saw somebody maybe in Pennsylvania, but not a relationship.
Okay, relationship might be a little more than what it was, but she was texting the guy and she saw a guy and they had sex while she was in Pennsylvania. Is that?
I think so. Yes.
And you know that, I mean, she texted this guy and she told that guy all about you, her fiance, and all about Chuck the third.
I don't know. I never saw anything like that.
it was clear that you guys were open about what the deal was. You and Nina were married, and Chuck was your guy.
No, he wasn't.
That speaks. I mean, it all depends on who you believe. Chucky or
Now,
Lisa?
as far as Kyle is concerned, Kyle lives here in Dallas, doesn't he?
Yes,
And he was the, I guess, manager of the bar. Is
he
that
was.
right?
Yes,
On premise,
yes,
and he actually hired Chuck. Is that right?
yes.
And Dax also worked there. Is that correct?
Dax was working as a bouncer at that time.
And Chuck was a doorman.
Yeah, well, he was a bouncer too. They were both working the same position.
That's how you met Chuck, through your son Kyle. Is that correct?
Yes,
You mentioned to the jury that Chuck got, and Kyle cares a whole lot about you, doesn't he?
I believe so. Yes,
I
he's
mean,
my
you
son.
guys still to this day, you all talk all the time, right?
We do.
And he'll pretty much do anything for you. Is that correct?
I don't know. I haven't got any new clothes for court yet, so I can't really say that. No,
Well, that's because he'd have to appear here in the court building to get you those clothes, right?
that's not true.
I mean, you told him to stay away, didn't you?
No.
You didn't tell him to stay away?
Well, I have not wanted him to be up here because of the risk for him and the danger of being around all these people.
You're on my way, Roach.
This is getting really interesting.
And they are approaching.
Is that her son?
I have no idea.
No. Who are they talking about that wasn't up there? That was supposed to get her clothes and didn't.
All right. I'm going to let the jury know that you had it. That's it.
That would be the end of day 6. And
Well, he had to slap.
What was that?
All right.
okay, end of day 6.
She sure seems to be contradicting herself. I think it's either that or it's the state taking everything out of context and trying to manipulate the context of it. I mean, 6 of one,
Yeah.
half a dozen of another, right?
Yeah, something of that sort. Let's see here. Let's see here. We are up
It's
to
a different
day
angle.
7.
Charge in the verdict form and language in there that it's specified that the way of human corpse to distinguish between physical evidence of 3rd degree and physical evidence of human corpse of 2nd degree.
Well, it's guilty as charged. I mean, we don't put, found guilty of murder with a knife or gun.
I agree. I completely agree with that. Just that when there's a
No, I'm aware that it is guilty as charged. If there was a lesser included, I would see your point with that, but I'll note your exception.
I believe how it read, Ms. Bolito.
Okay.
Yes, I saw that, Your Honor. And then I believe Ms. Bolito sent an email suggesting just a change in form in how it read.
On the,
It looks like on the
I'm sorry, on the murder charge?
tampering charge,
All right.
formal one, the tampering charge that was in there.
Instruction, we believe we've met the 3 upon this and
These are mid.
What are we doing? Oh, here we go. Finally back on the stand. You want to see one of my homemade biscuits?
Sure.
Look at that beauty.
All right.
Oh.
Ah, it's hot. I
Nice.
can't hold it. It tastes okay too.
Nice.
correct?
show you like this.
Then you have the witness on cross.
Thank you, Donna. Ms. Dykes, we left off yesterday, we were talking about Kyle Williams, and Kyle Williams is your son, is that right?
Yes.
He's your youngest son, is that correct?
Yes.
And he's the one that actually introduced you to Chuck, is that correct?
Yes.
He was the manager of the bar and on premise, and he actually initially hired Chuck as a doorman and a bouncer, is that right?
Yes.
And, you know, Kyle knows Dax, Kyle knows Freddie, Kyle knows all those guys down there that hang out at the on premise on a regular basis, is that right?
He knows the ones that on premise. Yes.
Okay. And Kyle is still here locally in Dallas, is that right?
Yes.
Now, all the rest of your children, Aaron and Chelsea, were living with you in Mesquite, the 3113 Kensington house, and they all moved back to Florida, but Kyle stayed here in Dallas, is that right?
Yes.
And you and Kyle are really close, is that right?
Yes.
You guys talk frequently, and throughout the course of when you left Dallas, you continue to stay in communication with him, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, we were talking yesterday about Kyle, and as I said, you have continued to talk to him up until today, is that right?
Yes.
I mean, as often as you can.
Yes.
Now, you told Kyle, or you became aware through Kyle in a phone conversation that the DA's office was trying to contact him, didn't you?
I'm not aware of that for sure. I don't remember that he mentioned anything like that.
You know that he called you, or you called him. You called him, and he told you that we had gone out to his apartment.
Big
And left a
biscuits.
business card out there, right?
I don't remember him saying that specifically.
And he told you that he thought it was the neighbor that kind of ratted him out as to where he lived, right?
I really don't remember him saying anything like that.
And he later told you that he had gotten a subpoena via text message from us, right?
He mentioned he had gotten a subpoena via a text message, and I told him I wasn't sure if that was correct service of a subpoena.
Because you know the law and you know your way around the courtroom, right?
I do know about subpoena service, yes.
And you couldn't get a hold of, you're talking to Aaron, again, you talk to him frequently as well, right?
I do.
And you were talking to him last week, just last week on October 8th, I'm sorry, not October 8th, December 8th, weren't you?
I don't really know the date. I talk to Aaron when he's off and I can catch him, so.
Okay, and he's off around 7:33 or 6:33 at night, isn't he?
It depends on the route he runs. He's an armed guard.
Okay, and that's what he was doing when he was here. He was working when he was in Dallas, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay, and was Chelsea working when she was in Dallas?
No.
But Jenny was working at the Amazon place,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
The phone number you use for Aaron is 407-412-1331, is that right?
Yes.
And when you call, you talk for several minutes, 10, 15 minutes, somewhere around there sometimes.
Yes.
And you recall, you know that Aaron was talking to you about the trial, was talking to you about Kyle, and telling him that Kyle needs to communicate with you, right?
I don't remember specifically the
Okay, but that sounds
conversation.
about right, doesn't it?
Can you repeat it?
That you were talking to Aaron and telling him that Kyle needs to communicate. You need Kyle to communicate for him.
With whom? Like,
With
I
you.
don't know. Like, well, I talk to him every day, so that doesn't necessarily make sense.
Okay. And Aaron told you that, or you told Aaron that Kyle doesn't need to show up. Is that right?
I don't even know what that context would be.
Okay. Well, Aaron told you that Kyle was going to come to trial on Monday, and you said he does not need to come to court on Monday, and I told him that. You recall that?
I don't specifically recall these conversations because, again, I talk to the kids like all the time. So,
And you asked Aaron to make sure that Kyle knows, no, do not come to the courtroom. Aaron asked you, is this because of the subpoena? And you replied, yeah, like I'm not going to say anything more than that. Do you remember that?
no.
Okay. Do you need to hear that phone call to refresh your recollection of it?
I finally
I
figured out why
wouldn't
it's
make a
relevant.
difference if I heard
Okay.
it. Like, I don't really recall having said that, but
Sorry, what did you say?
I was gonna say I finally figured out why all this is relevant. Okay, so I get it now because it goes to her like running away, and she knows the law, yet she's manipulating witnesses to maybe not appear in response to subpoenas, and she's doing all this trickery, which they're using to implicate guilt, which may or may not be the case, but I see what they're doing with it. Okay, I was just wondering where she was eventually going with this.
So if you heard your voice and you heard Aaron's voice and you heard that conversation, are you telling this jury that just wouldn't refresh your recollection at all about the conversation?
I don't remember having said it. Like, I talk to my kids every day. So,
Your Honor, may I have the witness and defendant listen to her jail call from that particular day, refresh your recollection?
You can. Are there any earphones, and can you take the laptop up there for the proper refreshing of her recollection?
Yes, Your Honor.
This should be the first.
This is
actual Dave call.
This is the start of impeaching her, right? So they're going to
Yeah.
have her listen to a recording, and then they're going to ask her again, does this refresh your memory? And if she says no, then they're going to move to admit that particular piece of evidence, which might have more information on there than she wants to get out. So
Your Honor, if I may ask
very
a
important to do this right.
That'd be great, rather than send the jury out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. But if not, we can do that.
Okay, so she's listening to her.
Refresh your recollection to that call. Ms. Dykes, did that refresh your recollection to that call?
it did. Thank you.
Okay, and, I mean, what I was asking you about, the fact that you're talking to Aaron and you're discussing Kyle's appearance here in court. You told Aaron, he does not need to come to court Monday. I told him that. Is that right?
I did.
And, she asked Aaron to make sure that Kyle knows, no, do not come to the courtroom, right?
Yes.
And Aaron asked, is this because of the subpoena? Is that right?
Yes, he did.
And you said, yeah, like, I'm not going to say anything more than that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Nina actually met Bill when she was like 16. Is that right?
I'm not sure exactly the age that Nina met Bill, but she was young.
Very young, right?
I think it was after she graduated high school, so I'm going to say she was probably 18 or so.
And they got married shortly after, right?
I believe so.
She never had kids of her own?
No.
Now, you made it a point on the rec yesterday to tell the jury, Chuck's a violent man, didn't you?
I did.
And you were so scared of Chuck that after you met him, you bought him a car, right?
I did buy a car, yes.
And you had to move into your house after your daughter and son and brother moved out, just within weeks, right?
Yes.
You invested in his rap career,
I did.
right? And even after he produced something like Defense Exhibit 7, that rap video, you continued to invest in his rap career, right?
I did.
You were so scared of him that you got matching tattoos with him, didn't you?
I did.
You were so scared of him that you brought Nina, your best friend of 14 years and now wife, around this man, didn't you?
I did.
You were so scared of him that you chose his last name after getting married to Nina, right?
I chose Beltran.
And you were so scared of him that when he had a rap show in Arkansas, you paid for the rooms, you paid for the van, you paid for the slot, and you and Nina went up there to the rap show, right?
I did.
You were so scared of him that when this all happened and you learned that the FBI was looking for Chuck, you met him in Pennsylvania, 45 minutes away from where Nina's house was. Is that right?
I did.
In fact, can I press the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
The state's 404, I mean, that's a map where East Stroudsburg is compared to the city of Bethlehem that you said he just showed up at with no notice. Is that right?
Yes.
Your Honor, state moves to admit state's 404 call for assistant Henry defense counsel.
No objection, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit 404 is admitted for all purposes.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may.
I mean, this is 37.1 miles away, right?
Yes.
He didn't know where to go. He went to Bethlehem and called you, and you met him there.
Actually, he did know the address of the house.
Now, You were so scared of him that you all got him a passport in Buffalo, New York, didn't you?
We did.
You were so scared of him, you actually paid off his child support so that he could go with you to Mexico.
We did.
You actually left him in Mexico, didn't you?
We did.
You bought him a Jeep, didn't you?
No, we bought the Jeep for me.
You let Chuck drive the Jeep, didn't you?
He did drive the Jeep, yes.
And when you all left him in Mexico, you left him there for a couple weeks, didn't you?
We did.
And yet you went back and drove from Pennsylvania all the way down to Mexico to pick him back up, didn't you?
We did.
And when you picked him back up, you guys went to Albuquerque and you drove in 2 separate cars with Chuck all the way to Miami and let him move to Miami into the Miami apartment with you.
We did.
And then when he left that Miami apartment is when Nina got arrested and then you got arrested and then he was away from you, right?
Yes.
I haven't had a
You did
drink
a
in the
lot of
morning.
things to make sure that you stayed in contact with Charles Beltran, even though
Are you
Sorry.
hanging out there, Nick? Or are you falling asleep?
No, I'm doing decent. I'm just
Okay.
listening to the testimony and the question and asked. She's
I gotta
doing good.
feed my son and his friends, so I'm gonna turn my camera off, but I'll be here.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
she's doing good
listening.
Yeah, she's doing good on the cross-examination, but I'm not sure she actually is impeaching her on the actual ending.
She's impeaching her on the relationship. See, like if you impeach a witness on a lie, then you get them on the other lies. And I think she's lying about her relationship with Chucky. So
Yeah.
that's my problem.
Yeah,
you had the opportunity when he went to Mexico to leave him there, didn't you?
We didn't feel that we really had any kind of choice in this. Ever.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Ms. Dykes, this is State's Exhibit 5, which has been admitted for record purposes. Is this just an identical copy of that, and this one's just typed? Is that correct?
It appears to be.
Your Honor, we would like to offer State's Exhibit 403 for all purposes. Defense counsel.
Oh, no, that's the judge's fingers.
Is that 2 pages?
It's just 403 that we're entering into admitting in evidence, just 1 page of the calendar.
Right. State's Exhibit 403 is admitted for all purposes.
Your Honor, pass witness.
Can you read record?
No, Your Honor.
that was the entirety of the cross-examination.
That ended quickly. I didn't even get a chance to put my food together. But look at my biscuits and gravy with some.
Oh. Now I'm getting hungry instead. I mean, this was not a bad cross-examination, but I don't know where they were going with it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Except that you and Charles Beltran knew each other more than was expected.
Well, the only thing that I got out of that is that she was lying about her relationship with Chucky, but that's an important thing to not lie about, right? And if it looks like you're lying about that, what else are you lying about?
Yeah, but still, do we get anywhere close a reasonable doubt towards who do we believe, Lisa Dykes or Charles Beltran? And if you are saying I'm a bit torn, that's so far from a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, see, I think I might have a hard time getting reasonable doubt myself, but I think the jury is going to be able to get there. I have no idea what the outcome is.
Yeah, I know, but
don't spoil it for me.
No, I won't spoil.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I do need to send you out of the courtroom for just a few minutes, but we'll have you back in 5.
Yeah, well, it got me thinking at least about what I was going to make, and then I came up with biscuits and gravy.
The way that you've written it does make
Oh, they have.
right now that we're outside defendants and hearing of the jury. Mr. Brown, the court has reviewed the jury charge language in the tampering case, and the state's request to modify it as to form, for it to read more easily. I do think the way that you've written it does make more sense. However, the charge not only tracks the statute, but it also tracks your indictment. So I'm going to leave it the way it is, the way you all have charged it, the way it reads in the indictment. So
Sure.
I do think that if you were to indict future cases with that form change, I think it would probably suffice. All right. Do you have any other witnesses to call in here?
Oh, no, Your Honor, just say we're gonna rest.
All right.
Okay.
We will then have.
We anticipate to rest with Lisa.
Stay open.
Yes, sir.
How much time?
How much time? That's up to you. How much time do
Do you want, I'll give you 30, it's been a long trial. Do you want 45 minutes?
45 minutes is fast. Hopefully we get some of that back.
Yeah, remember this. They are into day 7. And according to the judge, this is a long trial. Now, I know we've been through trials that have been 3 days, 6 weeks. The normal is when an actual murder trial is less than a week.
Most of them are like 3 days.
Well, 45
Yeah.
minutes?
Yes, Your Honor.
And half the first day is picking the jury.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown, since you're going to open for the state, what kind of warning? All right, so when the jury comes in, the defendant court charges the defense that she wants. Mr. Sadler, Ms. Carson, I'm sorry to interrupt. Will you show, yes, we
What's going to happen now is the prosecution's closing argument.
are instructed that jurors must be. Now, if you find to a result of her conduct, when it is her conscious objective or desire
First
to
is
cause
the
a
judge
person acts knowingly or with
explaining
knowledge
it.
with respect to a result of her conduct, when she is aware that her conduct is reasonably certain to cause the result. Party liability. A person is criminally responsible as a party to an offense if the offense is committed by her own conduct, by the conduct of another for which she is criminally responsible, or both. A person is criminally responsible for an offense committed by the conduct of another if, acting with intent to promote or assist the commission of the offense, she solicits, encourages, directs, aids, or attempts to aid the other person to commit the offense. Mere presence alone will not constitute one a party to an offense. Accomplice witness. Upon the law of accomplice witness testimony, you are instructed that Charles Beltran was an accomplice if any offense was committed, as alleged in the indictment. But cannot consider said evidence opinion of who is not legally.
Take away Chuck's testimony.
And we are starting with the state's case. Final argument. Okay, final argument.
Deserve better. Marisela deserved better than Raul on October 4th when he could get his apartment. When he let her go back out alone. Marisela deserved better than Chuck. Marisela deserved better than any of these nonsense issues about Dallas Police Department and things that happened after the investigation. Marisela deserves better than to be talked about, look at what she's wearing in opening statements. Marisela deserved better than to be a photograph in the Dallas County Courthouse in the state of Texas versus Lisa Dykes, because Lisa Dykes lost control in October of 2020 of a man she was obsessed with, Charles Beltran, Chuck, because she lost control, couldn't get a hold of him. He brings home a woman after she's told him no. And she straddles Marisela in the middle of the night, in her sleep, in Dallas, Texas, here in Mesquite. Lets her die. Wraps her body up in trash. He dumps her in Wilmer, Texas, right off the road, off Post Oak Road. But what Marisela does is her 12 and 2 alternates. We spent a lot of time last Monday sitting over here, and we talked about all these issues. We talked about the law. We talked about a lot of things. It was a very active session. You all spoke quite a bit. You are here because you agreed and you said, I can do this job. You are here because you said, I can handle this job. There was nothing about this job that said, I can't do it. All 12 of it. Right? In jury selection, last Monday, we talked about what is beyond a reasonable doubt. We talked about there's no legal definition, but obviously it cannot be 100%. 3 people in that room that night. Not 100%. It's not beyond all doubt. It's not beyond all possible doubt. You all agree with that, right? It's all about being reasonable and using your common sense. Keep that with you throughout the day.
Oh, I really hate this as a closing argument. It's not beyond reasonable doubt. It's you using your common sense. That in itself, for me, says reasonable doubt. Because if you can't reach that, you shouldn't even be in trial.
Right? We talked, and just to put this out there, right, there should be no doubt in your mind Marisela is killed in that bedroom that evening, in the early hours of October 5th.
There's a lot of doubt.
There is no doubt of that.
Sorry?
I said there's a lot of doubt. You know, when
Yeah.
they explain things in that small little box, and it's not clear that it happened exactly that way. There's a lot of doubt.
Exactly.
We talked about this. What is that a picture of? Many of you knew right away. Some maybe needs more. Let's talk about that. How does that relate here?
If
Maybe
Nick
one of those
dies, it's you,
is
Brandon.
testimony. Right? A pretty important piece. It's not the only piece. Right? We've got those call detail records that show this defendant, Nina Morano, right where that body's found. Right? We've got Lisa Dykes calling you to work October 5th. We've got the DNA results that Marisela's blood is in a carpet pad of that Kensington address. We've got that Lisa Dykes quits her job on October 16th. The week news articles start to surface about Marisela missing. We've got that's the day after she gets a call from the FBI and that she lied to the FBI. We've got the whole picture, right? Like we talked about, are you willing to get back there with circumstantial evidence, lay it all on the table, and weigh it all with one another? See how those pieces fit together. How do they all come together? What checks back with what? Take away Chuck's testimony, right? Start with Chuck's testimony.
Here's the thing. We have never heard from this guy in the entire trial. This is his first, and I guess only, testimony for the state.
Out of that puzzle piece. That's all accomplice law tells you to do, is that does his testimony make sense? Is it corroborated by anything else? There's not any specific thing that has to be corroborated, just is his testimony corroborated about the offense that took place and her involvement? And it is. The motive, all kinds of things are corroborated each step of the way by what Chuck says. So take his puzzle piece away, put everything else on the table first. Don't look at just the one piece, right? The defense has you heard Ms. Dykes, she's got an answer for every single puzzle piece. That they're all just unlucky coincidences. Don't do that. You said you wouldn't do it, don't do it. Lay them all on the table, weigh them against each other, and weigh them individually once they're all in front of you. Then you can start to see what the actual picture is, right? We talked a lot about this, right? Is it reasonable to weigh an individual piece of evidence by itself in a vacuum? You all answered, no. Why not? That makes no sense. That's not how we're going to do our job. So don't do it that way, right? Weigh them all individually, right? We talked a lot about circumstantial evidence. That's what you have here. You do have a lot of circumstantial evidence. You have quite a bit of circumstantial evidence. A lot of strong circumstantial evidence. So wait, right? You said, hey, I understand that there are a lot of criminal cases that may be just circumstantial evidence, and I can do that job. I can give a fair trial, and I can make sure that justice is done. Motive. We talked about each and every one of you. Why? Why is motive important? You answered about why motive is important. You heard people answer. Of course, that is an important thing for us to know. And you have plenty of evidence that you've heard of this trial as to her motive. The only person with motive and a reason to kill Marisela October 5th, 2020. We talked about his evidence, his flight and evidence of guilt. Absolutely. You all said, wait, consider it with everything that you have. Okay? We talked a little bit about the law of parties. It's in your charge, right? Because obviously you have multiple people here, right? You're criminally responsible if you do something with someone, commit a criminal offense, right? If you aid, you encourage, you solicit, right? You help in some kind of way. Everyone understood that. That's also why Charles Beltran is guilty of tampering with a human corpse, because whenever he sees this happen and he tells Lisa, instead of calling 911, fine, take care of it, and she says, grab Nina, and he does, he has now aided, assisted, and helped. And he took responsibility for that. And his punishment's being assessed. It's 20 years in prison. He knows that. We talk a little bit here also about the witness testimony, right? And it's going to be your job to weigh all the evidence that comes from that stand from witnesses, right? People you never met, you got to weigh. What are you going to believe about them? All, some, or none, right? We talk about ways that you have tools to weigh their credibility. Weigh it back to the physical evidence. Weigh it back to the documents you see. Tie it back to what you hear from other folks, right? How many witnesses did you hear from? And how many of those you get? And start to paint the exact same picture. You all said, yeah, I can do that. So I just want to leave you with this, right? Don't go back there. Defense counsel comes up, and there's excuse after excuse after excuse for each little thing, or to talk about Charles Beltran. They're all just one little puzzle piece. Don't focus on the one until you put them all on the table. When you put them all out on the table and back in that room when you're deliberating, that's when you start saying, hold on, this piece maybe doesn't fit, but maybe I still see the picture. And I'm confident that at the end of this, you will bring quick justice for Marisela, because it is the right thing to do, because the state has met our burden, and you will find Ms. Dykes guilty of murder and tampering with a human corpse.
Ooh, so exciting. He's so mad and determined.
That's a really short and really effective closing argument.
Yes, it was. I was concerned it was going to go on for hours. So, no, very good. Hopefully the defense hits all the points that they need to hit and presents it in the right way. Okay, remember, you're a storyteller. Tell a story. Don't sit there and recite things. Tell a compelling story. Don't read from notes. Just tell a compelling story. Let's see what they can do.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Harris.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Not now. Not now. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I can't step in this time. Oh.
Thank you, Jim.
Try your camera next time, too.
Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to service jurors. I know it's been a long.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, he had to slam her up against the wall
Uh-oh.
to shake her out of it.
Ping. Text her. Someone who's cold. And
That was weird. That whole thing reset.
this family deserves justice. This county deserves justice.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking time to serve as jurors. Without you, this system does not work. Won't quarrel with your verdict. I understand you've made your decision. And because you've made your decision, you're still obligated to follow the law. Now, your decision was obviously made based on the testimony of Charles Beltran. You found him credible. You found what he said about what happened to Marisela credible, that this was a vicious murder that happened.
What part of the case is this?
But more importantly, what he told you and what the detective said he told them, she was jealous. She was.
This is really weird. What part of this? Is this his closing?
No, this isn't his closing.
Wait, what happened?
Something happened here.
Okay, all right.
Oh, why
I
not?
was like, this is weird. He's missing the question mark when the way he speaks.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Come on.
Well, it's almost midnight, you know.
Don't fuck up now. We over 2 hours and now it starts to fuck up. Dave, can you help?
Yes. Okay. Turn your camera off first. Let's see if that works. In the meantime, I will try to go to Oxford, Dallas. Live, day 7.
20 years in prison. He knows that. We talk a little bit here also about the witness testimony.
Because he was done with his fucking testimony.
Right? How many witnesses did you hear from?
Okay. All right. Let me pull this up.
145.
Yeah.
Something.
Okay. The problem with me is I have to boost the volume, and I don't have a good enough boost, but I'll try.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Jim.
You have the.
I have the boost on already.
Yeah, but do you have the closed captions?
What's that? I'm sorry?
Closed captions. You should have
closed captioning, 1.25. Yeah, let me do all this stuff. Okay. All right.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to serve as jurors. I know it's been a long trial. Many of the speeches you could have given us again, you didn't do that. You accept responsibility. And now it's time for the state to accept responsibility for these allegations that they brought against Mrs. Dykes. I told you in the opening statement, I told you from the beginning, this is not about puzzle pieces. We're not talking about pieces of puzzles. We're talking about either you got the evidence or you don't. Because we're not talking about puzzle people. We're talking.
Oh my God, he's yelling so loud. Is it loud in everyone's ears or just mine?
Yeah, he is pounding the table.
He's talking fast too. I'm turning it down. I'm turning it back to normal.
Talking about Miss Dykes' life. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about her life. Whether she's going to be labeled a murderer, whether she's going to be labeled a felon.
What? It's doing it to me too. What is up?
They have the obligation to bring evidence that proves this case beyond a reasonable doubt. They haven't done that because she's not guilty. She did not commit the offense as Charles Beltran told you. And they're absolutely right. Marisela does deserve better. She deserved better than DPD gave her. Than Detective Ramirez did in the investigation of this case. I submit to you, it's one of the worst homicide investigations in Dallas County history. We talk about false confessions and how they typically lead to wrongful convictions. This was a terrible investigation. I had to call Detective Ramirez and put her on the witness stand. They don't want to support her. I called her so you could see her, you could hear from her and understand how she botched, how they botched this investigation up because she had blinders on once she believed she knew what happened in the case and how she manipulated Charles Beltran into putting it.
I got a warning that says experiencing interruptions. Find out why. But I think it's a YouTube thing because that's the first time I've seen a warning.
Yeah, it's
So-
between YouTube and StreamYard.
But it's not even. No. The warning came up on the YouTube end. It's not even a
Oh.
StreamYard thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Morano. False confessions? You think I'm just talking? You think I'm just talking? I'm not just talking. Nina Morano was charged with murder based on statements of Charles Beltran. That was whenever, years ago, when they got charged. Back then, they just dismissed that case. They've been talking to Charles, getting him ready to testify, at least 4 or 5 times, with the state and his attorney, preparing him to testify. Talking about all the inconsistencies that even after he talked to the detectives the first time, he still had. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to tell you is you cannot believe Charles Beltran. He's a liar. You know that because he gave story after story after story after story. These girls were having to believe, oh, he's such a, sugar bear. She's a sugar mommy, he's a sugar bear. He's so gentle.
I'm a sugar bear. I am so gentle. What? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, except I'm on my laptop. I can go try to get into the treehouse. And it might work better there.
If a gentle person had witnessed the horror that he's alleging Marisela went through, don't you think that would have affected them somehow? Don't you think that would have affected them in some manner? Everybody who came in contact with Charles said he acted wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what happened to Marisela, other than she got her teeth knocked out. But what I do know from her family, from her friends, they all told me that she smoked weed, but she was not the type of girl that would go on a one-night stand with somebody like Chuck. I submit to you that what the evidence shows is, yes, she met him, she wanted weed, but that's all she wanted from Charles. But he wanted more. Remember, he said, if you come to this room, you're going to have sex. That's what he said. That's what he meant. I submit to you, I believe the evidence shows that he did take her to the apartment, somehow get her over to the house, wanted to have sex with her. She didn't want to have sex with her. Either he hits her in the mouth. I don't know who hits her in the mouth. Somebody knocks her teeth out. And I wanted to make sure I made a big point of that.
Oh, this is really annoying.
Yep.
I don't know what to do. Except
those teeth,
I could do this.
She had her teeth at 7-Eleven. Now her teeth are missing. That is physical evidence. Men lie. Women lie. Physical evidence does not lie. The drops of blood that were on that carpet are more consistent with someone having their teeth knocked out and bleeding, and then someone later trying to get it up, than a stabbing. That's why he's backing off the stabbing now. That's why they're backing off that she was stabbed. That Lisa's standing over her and she's stabbing her. Because any crime scene expert, officer knows that when you stab someone, ladies and gentlemen, the knife goes in, the blood comes out. The knife goes in, the blood comes out. The splatter is against the wall. Especially, that's why I had to do a demonstration. If you throw someone against a wall that has blood over them, you would anticipate the blood on the wall. There's no blood on the wall. There's no spatter on the floor. There was no tussle, no struggle.
What I think she actually did was she was involved with Chuck, and I think she actively participated in covering up something he did. And I think that's why they had to go with the I wasn't involved with him at all angle, because, or she at least said that, because she's concerned the fact that the real truth is that she probably helped him cover up something.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I agree.
Charles Beltran don't lie to you about the physical evidence does not support that. Men lie, women lie, physical evidence does not lie. If this was a stabbing, where is the blood? Stabbing. That's what they have to prove in their indictment, beyond reasonable doubt. Stabbing. Stabbing. Now, to mention you, he's pausing because, see, now they know. He's talked to the detectives, he's talked to the state all these times. They know that wound don't show blood spatter consistent with a violent stabbing. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, if it did happen the way he said, she's in such a rage, she's so angry, she straddles her over the bed. The bed is right there on the wall. Where's the blood? They're struggling, they're both up. She's trying to get away with that. Where's the blood? Where's the blood? You can't get the blood up, ladies and gentlemen. You can make it appear like it's up, but you can't get the blood up. It's still going to show when you do that, the blue star. When Lisa is supposed to be going back to her room or going back wherever in the house to get out of this gown that clearly would have been dripping. I don't want to talk about her injuries, just the gown. She's supposed to be naked. Marcella's supposed to be naked. Where are the blood droppings? Where are the blood spatter? It's not there because it didn't happen the way Charles told you. It didn't
That
happen.
should have been the
There's no
entirety
evidence
of the defense
other than
case.
Charles Beltran, that she was even killed at Mesquite.
Yeah, it would have been much better that way
I submit to you,
Yeah.
when you look at
than
all
the angle that they took.
They
Yeah.
have to prove
And they
this
took all the
evidence
angles.
beyond reasonable doubt. They have to prove when she was killed. Look at the autopsy report. It says March 24th of 2021. You know that's not true. That's when they found the body. They have to prove that. Even as far as when the body got to Wilmer, where it was located, because of all the animals scavenging out there, potentially moving the body before it decomposed. You don't know when the body got there. So they say, okay, their phone's pinging. Let's talk about that. The phone's pinging in the Wilmer area. Well, if you look at the report, and I'm not going to pull it for you, you'll see all the towers. You got one in Wilmer. You also have one in Hutchins. I submit to you that the ping from their phone is because they went to the FedEx location in Hutchins. If that FedEx location wasn't there, trust me, they tell you it is.
That's the good
that
question.
is what happened. Coincidence? What? There's no evidence that the body was even out there on October the 5th. Not one shred of evidence. Not one shred of evidence in regards to when the body is out there, other than the fact that they found it on the 24th.
Because some of them are victims of.
And I said it to you, I don't believe the body was out there because you got to remember the FBI agents say they went to the area that they felt like the phones had pinged. They went to the whatever landfill, the area with the cement and stuff. They went out there. You got FBI agents combing that area looking for any evidence regarding Marcella's missing body. Nothing. It's later when the whoever is putting the traps out, and that's how they end up finding the body. But when they initially go out there, again, there's no evidence that body is out there. But they need that because they have to have cooperation. They have to have cooperation. They don't have it. The blood does not corroborate the fact that Marcella was stabbed. I'll submit to you is just as consistent that blood came from her teeth being knocked out. The phone pings does not corroborate that this offense took place the way Charles Beltran told you. It's not corroboration, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. So all you really got is an accomplice witness putting it all on Lisa Dykes. And that's important, ladies and gentlemen, because again, I wish you could have heard his interview with Ramirez and Ortiz. You know, all the lie after lie after lie he told about, again, not knowing.
Somehow
what
his
happened to
interview
Marcellus.
wasn't
I dropped her
admissible.
off. I thought she took an Uber, lie after lie. And it was only after, hey, they're going to say, you're the monster. And let me also touch base on, look, I didn't say nothing negative about her dress. It's how the kids dress.
That's how a 57-year-old woman dresses.
What I did say, and what I do want you to know, is they filed this case initially as capital murder because no one believed that Marisela would be with someone like Chuck. He knew that. He knew that. That's why he said, well, why did you call the police? Because I didn't think anyone would believe somebody like me. What do you mean somebody like you? Somebody with a record like mine. Somebody with a history of violence. Somebody like me. That's why I didn't want to get in trouble. Because I knew if they knew what happened, that I was with her, and whoever hurt her, I was going to get in trouble. So when the detective started feeding him this jealousy stuff, he ran with it. When the detectives were telling him, the attorneys are going to put it on you. The attorneys are going to put it on you. This is your only time to save yourself. So tell us. Tell us. And that's when he starts filling in the false allegations about Lisa and about Nina that I submit to you lead to false and wrongful convictions. Yeah, wrongful convictions, because that's exactly what would have happened if a jury heard these allegations that he made about Nina assisting in the stabbing. Nina assisting in the stabbing, and they went back and found her guilty. Because finally, he says it's not true. She didn't assist. She didn't assist. And there's nothing to corroborate that she did anyway. They're both in that room, just like she told you. They're both in that room asleep. And we wanted to talk to you a little bit about the dog.
Yes, these are closing arguments.
Even though
The defense is a little rambly, but not horrible.
Charles had brought numerous women, numerous guys over to that house, in that room, in that studio, having sex, doing whatever they're doing, smoking dope, making music, doing exactly what you saw on that Picture Me This video. And the reason I wanted to show you
That judge looks
video,
mad and stern, looking over his shoulder.
That's who Chuck really is. 50, half amazing, half crazy. Unfortunately for Marisela, and I agree, she didn't deserve to meet the half crazy Chuck, but that's exactly what I believe the evidence shows. As far as the dog, again, had this happened the way they're alleging it happened, don't you think that dog would have ran in that room? Don't you think there have been blood paw prints everywhere? But there won't, because it didn't happen the way Chuck told you it happened. All this stuff about them running, all this stuff about them evading, they didn't have to talk to the police. They didn't have to talk to the police. They told you they felt persecuted. They felt like they were being blamed. They couldn't get a fair trial. That's why they left, that they were afraid of Charles and his people. When he said Santa Marcia's always watching, Santa Marcia's always watching, they were afraid not to cooperate with Charles. They don't know. She could have easily got up there and said Chuck did. But she has no idea what happened to Marisela. She told you that. She's never met Marisela. And no physical evidence corroborates that she did. Nothing. Not
That's a good point.
Even the evidence that they got the arrest warrants on. Trying to lead judges to believe that they had her DNA. That was a lie. Nina's DNA, Chuck's DNA, with Marisela's DNA. All those are lies. The cement in the alley, lie. The hair sample, lies. Lies. A botched investigation. Marisela does deserve better than what Detective Ramirez did in this case. They deserve to have the right person found guilty. And it is more likely that Charles Beltran had something to do with her demise.
I think Chucky's made a deal.
Trying to blame everything on Lisa.
Yeah,
So I
he
don't
got a
think they're gonna
deal.
charge him.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, when you go through this jury
Chucky
trial,
got a deal about time served and I believe 5-year probation
don't make the same
for
mistakes
tampering with
that
evidence.
Detective Ramirez made,
Nice.
speculating.
I'm gonna try full screen
trying to
again.
force
If it buffers, I'll go back
a
down.
square peg into a round hole or whatever puzzle.
Nope. Can't do that.
Talk we want to talk about. The evidence in this case does not corroborate Charles Beltran's this last version that he gave. The evidence doesn't corroborate any version that he gave. Version after version, version to death, version to Fred, version to all the girls that he came in contact with, lie after lie after lie. Nothing corroborates it. He's a liar. He can't be trusted. I'm going to ask that you not further suborn this perjury is all it was. My opinion. But my opinion doesn't matter. What matters is what evidence came from that witness stand. And the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is the evidence does not corroborate Charles Beltran's version of the horrific murder that he's trying to tell you about. It just doesn't. Blood spatter is real. It's real. But it wasn't in that room. So there was no stabbing. There was no stabbing. Charles knows that. You should know that from the physical evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to submit to you that you should find Ms. Dykes not guilty, not just because that's what the law dictates that you do, but because this was a sloppy investigation, ladies and gentlemen. You remember the phone records that specifically show that after he leaves Mesquite, remember they get to Mesquite because they're looking at his phone.
Yeah, but you don't want to necessarily admit to be like, oh, my client didn't unalive anyone. She just helped hide the body. It's not really a good argument. So you don't help people commit crimes.
Oh, well, her phone went off here.
Yeah, that would be in a plea deal.
Mesquite, so we didn't go to.
Of sorts.
There's a million things he could have done with the phone. They're out all night. Phone could have went dead. A million things that could have happened in regards to why she can't use her accounts, why she can't use her phone. She's with Chuck 50-50, the monster. Why did they check that apartment? Was there evidence there at Carmen's apartment? I don't know. Why did Carmen disappear? Why did she disappear? Ladies again, we're going to ask that you find Ms. Dykes not guilty because that's what we believe the law and the evidence dictates that you do. But more importantly, because she is not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Not a bad closing argument.
No,
I mean,
it wasn't bad.
most of the evidence shown in court.
What is this? Do we have, is the verdict on day 7? Do we get like a verdict that quickly?
You get a verdict that quickly.
Well, I'm going to guess that it's guilty.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court has received your jury verdicts.
Can we just take a second to appreciate? I'm going to open this up here. Okay, so this is at 5 hours and 2 minutes ish. and they did closings. The jury was sent off at 2. So they literally took an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Please stand. The jury verdicts read as follows. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Lisa Jo Dykes, guilty of murder as charged in the indictment.
An hour and
Second
15
case.
minutes of
We, the jury,
deliberations.
unanimously find the defendant, Lisa Jo Dykes, guilty of tampering with physical evidence as charged in the indictment.
And
An hour and
Both
15
verdicts
minutes,
are
and they
signed by
found
the
her
judge,
guilty.
And the name is also printed. You may be seated.
And they will move on to sentencing because in this court in Texas, the jury decides sentence.
This reminds me of Starship Troopers, where they have the commercial where like this criminal was caught yesterday.
Yeah.
He was tried today. He'll be and convicted, and he's executed tonight. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Yeah, but there is a victim statement from, I don't know who it is. You skip past that.
Oh, did
And
you want
here's
to
the
watch the
thing:
victim
in
statement?
the news reports, they claim that Lisa Dykes admitted to the crime, and that it was a crime of passion. No. During the sentencing, the defense attorney argued that if you find that Charles Beltran is 100% believable, you have to assume that this is a crime of passion. Lisa Dykes has to this day never admitted to it.
Yeah.
So this
This
is
guy-
the defense attorney arguing against life without parole. But
That's
in
what
the
this is.
news reports and the crime tubers, they claim she admitted it was a crime of passion, which is completely false. This is just sentencing, where the defense attorney argues to the jury, you found Chucky 100% believable, and therefore you must see it as a crime of passion.
Yes.
Which in Texas would result in a lesser sentence. So the news reports and the crime tubers who covered this case are morons, retards, fucking unbelievable. I will say this to the end of days. There is every piece of physical evidence pointed to Chucky. But he snitched.
Yep.
Towards
And so he got the deal.
he
Snitches
got-
get rewards, just like it says on makinglawsimple.com.
Yeah. So this is what happened, that Lisa Dykes was sentenced to life without parole on this evidence brought forward in trial.
Who's this guy? Is this the testimony that you wanted to see?
No, that's the guy in the sentencing. That's the victim's impact statement, which I believe it's a relative of Marisela.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So she got sentenced. Are we done with streaming then?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to watch anything else. So she got life without the possibility of parole. That's what I was going to go to. Was when they hand down the verdict or the sentence.
So they took an hour and 15 minutes with lunch to reach this verdict. And for me, that is incomprehensible. For me...
Well, they're going to take their time eating lunch.
Yeah. And for me, after listening to the evidence and the testimonies, for me, somebody got away with murder. In my opinion. Charles Beltran.
And a fine of $10,000. first verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, having heretofore found the defendant, Lisa Jo Dykes, guilty of the offense of murder as charged in the indictment, and not having found by a preponderance of the evidence that such offense occurred while the defendant was under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from adequate cause, assess her punishment at life in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice and a fine of $10,000.
Okay, so heat of passion is still a mitigating circumstance.
We, the jury, having found the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the offense of tampering with physical evidence as charged in the indictment, assess her punishment at confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 20 years. In addition thereto, assess a fine in the amount of $10,000. Both verdicts are signed by the presiding juror.
Yeah, that's
Mr. Harris, is there
the
any reason in
tampering
law
with evidence
why your client
charges.
cannot
20 years.
now
Yeah.
sentence?
There's not, Judge.
That it is the order and judgment and decree of the court in cause number F2.
She'll last 10 years in prison, I think.
476. Lisa
She's
Jo
60
Dykes,
now. She'll die at 70 in prison
Yeah.
with the jury's verdict,
because she's got all those health conditions. You know,
and a fine of $10,000.
she had medical weight loss surgery and stuff, but she's going to probably balloon up and die of a heart attack in 10 years.
Yeah, but here's the
That's my
thing.
guess.
Every piece of physical evidence points towards Chucky, but he squealed.
He did. Look, I have a cat. You have a cat.
Yay!
Mine's right there.
Hey! We both have pussies on, or yeah. And I promised you this was a strange case and a strange trial. And I don't see how the jury got there in an hour and 15 minutes with lunch.
No, well, they had their mind made up. They were just checking boxes. They weren't deliberating.
No.
They had a straw poll, and they're like, "Oh, everybody's the same. Okay,
Yeah.
check the boxes, fill them out.
Yeah.
Let's eat lunch."
But here's another case of this isn't for me. This isn't even reasonable doubt. I believe, to the core of my opinion, Chucky got away with murder.
See, I feel like there's no evidence to there's evidence to establish that she was around the cell phones lineup, right? So if you can use it as a basis to understand that she had a relationship with Chucky, because everyone was testifying to that, and she most likely helped cover up the murder. She's at least guilty of that, right? She's at least going to get 20 years. She's 60. That gives her until 80. And she's probably going to die in 10 years anyway. So regardless of whether or not she did the unaliving, she probably got an appropriate sentence. But I could see where the jury got there.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Chucky is currently out. Time served. He is out on parole.
Yeah, he did get away with it. But she's not innocent either. It's like...
No. I don't believe either Lisa or Nina was... and I've been saying this for...
Who really got away with it was the other spouse. Mrs. Dykes' spouse. She didn't have to testify, right?
No. She didn't have to do anything, and she got away with it. But here's the thing.
Did they charge her at all? I mean, she's an attorney.
No,
so
they just dropped it after the trial.
Because she's an attorney?
I don't know.
That's why.
Yeah. But here's the thing. The drop zone, they found more bones of human remains.
More charges against Mr. Chucky?
No. He's out.
No. Potentially for the unaliving of whoever those other bones are.
No charges has been brought against him regarding those bones.
Because they wanted him to testify now. So now that he's done testifying, they got their conviction of Miss Dykes. Now they can complete their investigation potentially of another unaliving and pin it on Chucky, and throw him away too.
That won't happen. Because they already discarded that evidence. So even if the prosecution said we need to prosecute him of that one, they don't even know who it is.
They discarded the other human remains, like threw them out, incinerated them?
What happened with the other human remains is that the prosecution believed it was non-human. But the defense told the judge, we need to examine these remains. They brought it in after a judge ordered the lead detective to hand it over. They found out it was human remains, but those human remains weren't Marisela Botello's. And that is where it ends.
I don't know.
That's
I
it.
feel like if I was the DA's office, I'd try to make a case against Chucky if there's any evidence to support it. And
Yeah,
try to
but
get
then
him
they
on
have
those two charges.
to. Yeah, but then they have to exonerate Lisa Dykes. If they believe
they
that,
don't have to exonerate him because she's not in charge. She's not connected at all with these other bones.
as we know, but they were found at the exact same spot as the rest of the remains a year later. So it would be extremely easy for a defendant to say, "Well, they convicted her. These bones has nothing to do with it."
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. For
The
me,
bones were found amongst her bones somewhere. I don't know.
yeah, for me, Chucky, in my opinion, Chucky got away with murder.
I'm excited for you to be wrong and me to be right. And like 6 months from now, there's new charges against Chucky.
I'm hoping you're right, but I don't think it will happen. Because if Chucky is indicted for remains that are found at the exact same spot as Marisela, that's an appellate issue. And I don't think this prosecution will risk it.
Maybe. I've seen some really dumb and zealous prosecutions. So.
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
They will handle it as different cases, just to keep Lisa Dykes in prison.
All right, I'm gonna take off. I gotta go take care of the horses.
No worries, because I'm done too. Everybody knows what happened, and I'm infuriated.
You gotta go get some sleep. That's what you need to do.
That too, yeah. But I need to hand the stream over. I need to redirect to somebody who's online.
So right now, Baker is doing some Turtle Boy stuff, Karen Reed stuff. He's going over the judge's opinion on the Karen Reed case. So you can redirect to him, or Excited Utterance is streaming right now, and Aussie Overlord is streaming right now. So those are and Dr. Hines. You got a lot of choices.
I'm handing you all over to Baker. I will do a video. I will prepare for it about how to get away with murder regarding this case.
That could turn into legally. You're going to get kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. It will all be in my opinion.
That's right. And this is like the OJ book. I didn't do it, but if I did, this is how I would have done it.
Yeah. But I will send you all over to Broken Baker. Thank you all for being here. And
take care, everyone.
I'm infuriated by this decision because for me, there was so much doubt. Everything in this trial is doubt. Everything. Every single thing. An hour and 15 minutes? You have to be kidding me. But if you're already convinced we need a murderer, that's a convenient murderer. They believed a snitch who is a convicted woman beater. Yeah. But thank you all for being here. We saw through this case. We will start again on Monday on the Young Thug. And thank you. And thank you to Dave. And thank you to Brandon, who got us a bit closer. We are
I don't think he's sober.
We are $1,999 away from the goal on the Zachariah
Nice.
Anderson defense.
Yeah, I
Thank
don't
you
think
all.
Nick is sober right now.
Oh, fuck no. No, not even close. Thank you. Say hi to Baker from me. And I'll see you all on Monday. Bye-bye.